Hey everyone, welcome back to the Keep Watching podcast, where we decide what to watch so you don't have to. I'm James,
And I'm Sarah.
and today we're going to be talking about Transit Love 2, episode 18. All right, now it's starting to feel like we're near the end.
Now?
Only
Just
two
now?
more.
Okay.
Only 2 more 3-hour episodes left.
Yes.
How are you doing, Sarah?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Good. Well, I've actually, my internet has been out for the last 2+ days, so
That is rough.
we had a bit of delay in uploading the last podcast because of that.
Yeah.
So once again, we released the last podcast like hours ago.
Hours ago.
Hours ago. Yeah. So yeah, maybe that's just the cycle of life now. But yeah, we actually got a comment from AH on episode 16, 2 episodes ago. They liked they liked the dynamic of our difference of opinion on whether this Haeun Hyungyu relationship is like actually a thing or not. I was very pessimistic, and you were very optimistic.
Yeah.
We can check in on each other where we're at after this episode on that. Do you think people like when we disagree? I think my sister or one of my sisters has told me that they liked that when we disagreed on the podcast.
Oh yeah. Well,
Is that a
it's
thing?
it's probably more interesting than, us just going, yeah, that thing. I don't know.
That's true, yeah. I don't know. People let us know. Should we make a point to just really argue more on this episode?
No, I think what people like is that we disagree but don't like get weird about it. Like we're not a Hidu Nyan situation.
Well, that's what I mean.
where
Like,
we're
should we
fighting.
disagree
We're just,
more?
talking through things. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we disagree on something, but we don't. I guess we get into it pretty good whenever we disagree. We talk through it.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
so. We don't ever just like brush it aside if we disagree on something.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe I'll be way more. I'll try to argue more on this episode. Every episode, I'll just try to emphasize.
And try a new thing. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because spoilers right now, I don't think I'm going to be trying to be too I'm not going to be taking a lot of positive spins on this episode. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Okay.
over that.
There. Okay.
Age also had the opinion that they just were happy to see Guman get the karma of Haeun not picking Nayeon for his date. But Age also said, and then this was before I even talked about it in episode 17 that we just released, like, I started to feel like an evil person. And that's what Age admits, that saying that about Haeun or about Guman feels evil, but it's not just me, Sarah. Everybody's turned a little evil watching this show.
Yeah, this show does things to people.
And then H was the one person to answer our question about what they actually like about this show.
Yeah.
And they like the story arcs of some of the characters.
Okay.
I'm curious which characters those are, and maybe
Yeah, because that could still be like, I like the story arc of the fights.
Yeah. Because at the time that I wrote this comment, which is before I watched this episode, the only good story arc that I could really think of was Tae's story arc.
Oh yeah, Tae has a good arc.
Which might not have a good ending, potentially, but hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll see. And yeah, I think I'm going to be out. By the end of this episode, I feel like I'm going to be out on even more people than I was previously.
Ooh, so at the end, you're just watching this for Tae, is what it sounds like.
I have some wild card hopes now based on a couple things that happen. Unexpected, maybe, who I might be rooting for now. But yeah, I got nothing against Tae after this episode. He's still...
he remains constant.
Yeah, I hope they're the best for Tae. All right, and then some people, despite it only coming out hours ago, have already commented on episode 17. So Emma told us that she actually listens to our podcast while walking outside, and then looks like a crazy person when she laughs at us. That's great.
I feel like we've all had that situation, right? Just out in the world, minding your own business, listening to something that is hysterical. And
yeah, I guess I don't do it often enough, but that's good. I'm glad that we are that kind of podcast. Yeah.
Yes.
And she gave us confirmation that us talking about Hidu's sex in the last episode was funny. So,
I
thank
may
you.
never.
I'm glad we're not the only ones that think that's funny. Okay, or at least I'm not the only one that thinks
I think it was funny, but I still feel a little bad about it.
Okay. And then Interregnum left a comment letting us know that this is their favorite episode, which I feel like this is probably the most important episode of the season.
Mm.
Whether or not it's your favorite, I think is very subjective. But
Yeah.
I think it is very crucial in terms of what it actually means to be in a relationship with any of these people. So
Yeah.
get some truth revealed in this truth or dare segment. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe a little too much.
No, I think it was good. Truth or dare segment, maybe the best segment in the entire show. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair.
All
It was
right.
good. Better definitely than any of the rooms.
Oh yeah. And then Interregnum also said maybe this episode has the biggest heel turn, which I don't know who that is, unless it's just an even more heel turn of the person I already said was the biggest heel turn. I'm not sure.
They're just teasing us, or maybe just me, because I've been anxious about this heel turn all season.
Okay. All right. The other thing we used to do on this show back in the day was we would like kind of run through any like show recommendations,
like
for
what
people.
we're currently watching.
Yeah, that we're not talking about. But we used to like switch what we were talking about every week, which we haven't done in a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got a bunch of shows. You want to hear some show recommendations?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Some of these I think we might talk about in the podcast eventually. All right, I just finished watching a show called The Traitors on Peacock.
Okay.
Which is not a streaming service that I think everybody has, but this show might be one of the best like social reality competition shows I've seen in a long time, as far as like new ones.
Well, dang.
It's basically like a game of like it's like a super simple game of like Mafia where there's like 3 traitors out of a house of like 20, and every night they get to like kill one, and then every day during the day they get to like the house votes to like banish somebody, and so they're like trying to get rid of the traitors, and the traitors are trying to kill everybody before they get found out. And that's basically it. Like there's like I think it's a show that we if you decide to watch it all, Sarah, we could definitely do a podcast episode about it. But it's like I just thought it was really interesting, and like the production and the host of the show and like the aesthetics of the filming environment are all like A+ good. I like really I really recommend this show for anybody who likes like social competitive rowdy game shows. It's like I thought it was really well done, and it starts out like kind of slow where you're like, okay, I don't know how this is gonna get more interesting, but then it gets like way more interesting just like naturally. So yeah, I was really impressed by this new show.
Okay.
Highly
That's
recommend.
saying a lot. That's like your genre. Like
it is, but like I pretty much stick to like Survivor and like Big Brother, and like those are always like, okay, these are like the best games out there. And then other shows are like below that. But this one, it's different. It's different and still really, really good.
Okay.
Honestly, I was like literally I was spoiled on who was gonna win the season, and it was still like got really emotional and like amazing. And I already knew who was gonna win. So that's how good it was. And then another similar show, kind of. Not really. But there's a new show on Netflix called The Devil's Plan.
Okay.
Which we've watched The Genius together, which is a Korean game show. The Devil's Plan is just the Netflix version of The Genius. Like it's literally like they took the entire production team of The Genius and we're just like, we're gonna rename the show and like just make it better. like the narrator's voice that like explains the games, it's the same voice. The graphics are all like the same.
Is it that same sweet intro song? Because that was pretty hype.
It's different, but it's definitely like they're trying to like allude to the old one, but they do make it different.
Okay.
Yeah. But the art style of the intro package is the same. Yeah, so anybody who's familiar with The Genius, like I straight up just think it's better. I've only watched the first 2 episodes and I think already it's better. Like they used to like do 2 games an episode, and it was like a main match and then an elimination match. They got rid of the elimination matches.
Okay.
Which were probably the most boring part of The Genius, because
they would like repeat the same
game. Repeat games, and it wasn't as good. But they got rid of that. And instead of like the contestants leaving and coming back every week to like play the next game, it's just 7 days straight of them living in the same facility together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're gonna really like the layout of this facility. It's very like it's kind of like what I would imagine what your like puzzle house like your like dream
Ooh.
of like a puzzle house would like. It's like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
kind of gives me that vibe. So I feel like you're gonna be impressed with the
Okay.
set
All right.
of the Devil's Plan.
I'm excited to check that out.
That show I don't think we would talk about every episode unless people really wanted us to, and we could come back to it sometime,
Mm-hmm.
depending on when Singles Inferno comes out. But like if we just watch like the first episode or two and like talk about the first game they play, I think that would be fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the first game they play is basically like another version of Mafia, except 100 times more complicated than the entire Traders TV show, and
Of course it
it's
is.
only the first game of this Korean show. It's so funny to watch like the level of like complexity to a game
Yeah.
on American TV versus Korean television. Like the contestants play a game for like 3 hours on Korean TV, and it's like 100 times more complicated than a 2-week game of the Traders. It's really kind of ridiculous. But all right, you want to hear more? I got so many of these.
How have you managed to go through so much TV this week without?
Well,
the
some of these
internet?
are just
It's
reminders.
amazing.
Some of these are just reminders of what's coming up. I won't go into details
Okay,
on all.
okay.
Those are like the two I was most excited about.
Okay, fair.
Loki season 2 on Disney Plus is coming out
Ooh.
October 5th. Just so people
Excited
know.
for that.
We never talked about Loki on this podcast. I don't think we will podcast about it, but I know it's a show we both like. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's coming out. And then yesterday was the premiere of Survivor season 45.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For my money, still the best TV show period.
Wait. I thought that like Big Brother was coming for you a little bit though.
Big Brother might be the best game, but the TV production is like
Okay.
it's not even close. It's
Fair.
like I cannot consciously like feel confident and good about recommending that people watch Big Brother, because if you just go watch the TV show, you'll be like, this is garbage, childish nonsense. What am I watching?
It does seem like a silly time.
But if you commit, like if you actually follow the show, like watch the live feeds and see what the players are doing and how they strategize, it's really interesting, but the show does nothing to make it seem like it's that interesting. They just make really disgusting slime-based competitions that are childish and stupid. So
Okay.
yeah, not going to recommend people watch that, but Survivor, that's a respectable TV show. Go watch Survivor.
Nice.
And The Amazing Race also premiered yesterday. Season 35 of The Amazing Race. That's less strategy. That's like little to zero strategy. Just fun watching people race around the world. And you get to see these different locations around the world. That's a fun show.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a good time.
All right.
Yeah. We won't talk about The Amazing Race or Survivor on this podcast. I mean, I could talk about Survivor nonstop till the end of time if people want to hear that. But there are very reputable Survivor podcasts out there if people want to listen to Survivor podcasts. All right, but in terms of the shows that we're going to talk about, I just want to mention these, or we're on our list to talk about after Transit Love 2 is done. So nobody gave us like a really hard recommendation recently.
Right.
But here's a list of things that people can say they'd be interested or not. I think we're locked in. We're going to do the After Signal.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do After Signal. We'll probably do that right away when we're done this. Get that just since as recent. I think the show will be wrapped up by the time we're done with Transit Love 2, and then we can watch it and talk about the full season in one podcast.
Yeah.
Then we also talked about the One Piece live action on Netflix.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sarah, have you checked it out yet?
I have not. I don't want to watch it too early, so I'll forget everything by the time we talk about it.
I think you can watch like episode 1 and be like, oh yeah, I like this enough to watch the whole thing, and let me know.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah. All right.
if you're not gonna watch the whole thing, I don't know if we podcast about it.
I have good vibes. I think I'll like it well enough.
Okay. All right.
Good.
It's only like 8 episodes or something. So,
Yeah.
And then the Ahsoka Star Wars show on Disney Plus is like 1 episode away from being done. Sarah and I are both, we're Star Wars fans, but specifically we're both Ahsoka fans.
Ahsoka is the best character in Star Wars, hands down. Don't fight me about it.
Well, that's at least what we say going into the show. this is this is the first live action version of Ahsoka. So
Not true. She's appeared on
The Mandalorian. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That where she's heavily featured. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're both big fans of Ahsoka, so I think we could also do a full season podcast of that show, 1 episode podcast.
It might just be me gushing about the character herself the whole time. I'll try to contain myself.
So yeah, that would be fun for us. I'm curious if any
will it be fun
current,
for you.
Yeah, I'm curious if any of the listeners of this podcast would be interested in something like that, but we'll see. And then yeah, the 2 shows that I talked about earlier, The Traitors, which is the American mafia style game, and then The Devil's Plan, which is the Korean game show where they play a mafia style game in the episode 1, but every episode's really a different game that they play.
Different game, yeah.
But the Devil's Plan might be the best, like the best game. Like it's not on American TV, but I don't know.
Okay.
I'd love to talk about the Devil's Plan if people want to hear it, and talk about the genius. And yeah, it's a similar strategies.
Yeah.
To all they're very similar shows. So yeah, I think that'd be fun to talk about. All right, I talked a lot about not Transit Love 2, but I think we have to start preparing, for not talking about Transit Love 2. It actually feels like we're almost done. So
yeah.
People let us know if they're interested in any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're not interested in any of it, you can also let us know. All right. Anything you want to recommend, Sarah?
Well, I can't recommend it necessarily because I haven't seen it yet, but pretty soon The Fall of the House of Usher is coming out. And you know how I feel about spooky season. That's going to be a quality spooky season show. It's from the same guy that's made Midnight Mass and The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor. So I'm pumped for that. I think that comes out on October 12th or 13th or something like that. So
okay,
if y'all like spooky season, like I like spooky season.
Is this something you're gonna want to make me watch and talk about on the podcast?
No, okay. I know it is not a James show.
I'm out.
I just know that there might be other people out there who are pumped for spooky season like I am.
Yeah, I am very much out on the spooky season. But if Sarah really wants to talk about something, maybe I could do it. But
no, I wouldn't do that to you. It's okay.
Thank you. All right. All right, let's get into Transit Love 2.
All right, let's go.
All right, where did we leave off in episode 17?
Okay, last episode was really long and it was 2 days. And day 1, they had to go on the dates set up by their exes, right? The women picked the dates and it was a whole...
That sounds right, unless...
Big, terrible shenanigans.
Unless that was
nonsense.
all in one episode, I don't remember.
But at the end of that day, Han gets drunk and touchy with Hyungyu.
Oh yeah, that was the biggest conversation we had. Okay, yeah.
People have big feelings later. And then day 2 is a day of just they get to go on a whole bunch of secret one-on-one meetings. And Han goes on a million of them. She like
3.
But yeah. Well, it's more than anybody else.
Yeah.
She meets with both of the ladies who have recently gone on dates with Guman, and then of course has to meet with Guman, and then of course is sad.
Yeah.
Because he makes her feel bad for being all touchy with Hyungyu. And that is mostly what happened.
Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, the doorbell rang at the end of episode 17. So
yeah, so they get another letter.
Get another letter. Here we go. Just so you know, let me interrupt you right here. Just so you know, already 2 seconds into this episode, I'm already fed up with Hidu and Nayeon, and I do not want to talk about them. I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
They don't actually fight. They're just almost fight. But that's it. No.
Nope.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Nope. Too much. You said too much.
No. It's fine.
They're constantly... We don't need to talk about it. They're constantly fighting. Okay.
But they found a new way to fight. They whisper fight now in this episode instead of like.
I don't know if it's new. It might be new to us, but it's not new to them.
Yeah. It's new to the show. Yeah. It's polite fighting in front of people.
All right.
So yeah, they get a letter. There are 3 days left until the final decision. You can choose your date or a date tomorrow. But people who choose each other can go on a date. However, you can't choose your ex. If your date doesn't choose you, you can't go on a date. Translation I got was a little clumsy there, but basically, you get to pick a date, but it only works out if you pick each other.
Yeah, it's like real life. It's like real life, except you can't choose your ex. That's the only, of course.
Yes.
Of course you can't choose your ex. Why? Why can't they just let the exes date each other? We're kind of going to find out why later, but it's all a big why. Ultimately, why show? Why
Yeah,
TV
yeah.
show?
Because they want to drag this out as through the whole thing, you know?
Yeah. Well, spoilers, but next episode, the previews or the next thing they're gonna have to do is that all the exes will be forced to go on dates with each other, and
Yep.
that's gonna be next episode. So yeah, not looking forward to next episode.
You know who else is not looking forward to next episode? Human is not looking
So
forward to
many
next
people.
episode.
Jisoo,
Oh yeah. Tae probably.
Faye probably. Yeah. Uh, all right. Well, yeah, we were wrong about somewhere along the way. The subtitles said something about 1 day, but it's 3 days left.
Yes.
And yeah, so they have to match. We were worried that straight up, like Heian was just gonna pick Human and he would have to go, but no, that's next episode. All right. Yeah, we see Ji Young immediately ask Hyungyu to hang out tomorrow.
Yeah, she doesn't give a shit about the implied rules of you're not supposed to sort this out ahead of time.
Is that a rule?
I think it's implied. It's not actually a rule, but I would imagine like you're doing the secret picking texting like you always do.
Yeah, she isn't really asking him like, "Hey, do you want to go on a date tomorrow?" She's like, "Do you want to hang out?"
I mean, a minute ago somebody read a letter that said, "Hey, pick somebody for a date tomorrow," and then she turns around to him and goes, "Hey, do you want to hang out tomorrow?" She was asking him out on a date.
Yeah, I mean, it turns out that she's not gonna be the only one that did this, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is just the most blatant about it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's doing it while everybody is like still sitting on the couch.
No real whispering involved.
Yeah, but despite not whispering, it sounds like it might have been hard to hear because Youngyu kind of like asked her to repeat herself, and then she repeats it again, and then he's like, "I'm good."
Yeah, which I think that she hears is just like good, but he's just like, "No, thanks." Is I think what he was trying to go for.
When someone says like "I'm good," at least like in the way that I'm saying it, like "I'm good" in English, that means like I'm good as in no.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. Like
I'm good without what you're offering.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that was the proper translation, but like definitely it already seemed weird even in English. Something was off about it, but we're gonna find out that like he at least is going to say that he didn't really hear what she was saying, so he just said like something in response.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be some sort of confusion here. Heian does notice this interaction though between Ji Young and Youngyu, though.
And she hears it as Jiyeon asks him out and he goes, "Good, yeah, let's do that." And so she's just like immediately jealous. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever she heard, she also thinks that he agreed to a date with her. So,
yeah.
All right. So random. Yeah. And then the show kind of reveals who some of the people picked. So Nayeon chooses Gyumin because she can't pick Idu.
Yeah, not surprised.
Yeah. And this is why in the preview in the last episode we were like, why are Nayeon and Gyumin on a date? Or no, in the preview it showed us that Nayeon's gonna pick Gyumin, and we were like, why? And then it's like, oh, she can't pick Idu. Oh, of course. Why did we see that coming?
Of course, we should
have. Hei chooses Naeun, not a surprise. Heian chooses Youngyu, not a surprise. She also couldn't choose her ex, so
Yep.
And Wanbin chooses Ji Young, which that was a weird one that they showed us. I don't know why they bother showing it that one.
Because Wanbin doesn't matter, unfortunately, anymore, you know? So it's just like, just throw that out there, whatever, you know?
But Naeun, for some reason, is struggling to choose Sarah.
I don't understand why. It makes me sad, but okay.
She whispers with Jisoo, and Jisoo tells her that, well, Tae will choose you for sure. Like, Jisoo gets it. She knows what's up.
Yeah. But then Nayeon's like, no, I'm pretty sure they're both gonna pick me. And Jisoo, like, gives her this side eye, like, no, that's not what's happening, but doesn't actually say it.
Nan is, like, 100% sure that Gyumin is also going to pick her.
Yeah. So sure. Embarrassingly sure.
And then she turns to the other person sitting next to her, which is Ji Young, and says the same thing to Ji Young. Jiyeon has I swear Jiyeon has a moment of similar confusion to what Jisoo's face was.
Yeah.
Wait, what? And then immediately is just like, oh, okay, yeah. And then basically convinces her that she should pick Gyumin.
Yeah, so that she is trying to make her not pick Tae.
So that she doesn't pick Tae. And even says at one point, I'm not just saying it because Tae is my ex.
how do you know she's saying it just because Tae's her ex? That's how.
That's how when
Yeah.
they say it. If they know that they should say that they're not saying it because Tae's her ex, that means that they are doing it because Tae's.
100%.
Oh my god. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Then the doorbell rings again.
It's a mystery.
But-
Who did not pick?
Well, we're about to find out because they send them another letter so that way they have to announce who is coupled up properly.
Yeah, I like that.
And so it's Jisoo and Gyumin.
Jisoo and Gyumin, let's go.
Yo, that's a thing that happened. And then Haeun and Hyungyu. 2 couples have been matched for a date.
Yeah.
Tae does not look amused at this point.
He did not. Yeah.
And Nan is completely shocked because, of course, how did Gyumin not pick her?
I want to say something just to be fair because I'm gonna kind of shit on people later for maybe doing the exact same thing I did, but I actually wrote in my notes like, oh, I guess Gyumin just wanted to guarantee that he had a date. Because like, well, theoretically he could have guaranteed a date. I should have thought about it more. Like he could have guaranteed a date if he picked Na Yun, right?
Yeah, because knowing she can't pick Hidu, that she's always gonna fall back to him.
Like if anything else, like so far, like this is like a pretty clear sign that he is done with Nayeon.
Yeah.
Like thinks it's a waste of time. And then I was thinking like, oh, he probably thought Na Un would pick Tae and then he wouldn't get a date. So then he knew at least that Jisoo was probably gonna pick him. So I did have that thought.
I mean, it's also possible that like he just wasn't vibing with Nayeon at all.
That's also possible. Like, yeah. That's also I think that's very possible. The way
I think that's what's happening.
The way she called him out on his bullshit might not have liked that.
Yeah.
So that's very possible. Despite me having that thought, other people on the show are going to have a similar thought, but the way that they're saying it is going to turn me off to those people.
Okay.
And we'll get into that later.
Okay. Fair.
But yeah, so we have an expected match, which is Han and Hyungyu, which again, we don't know. Like, Han couldn't pick Gyumin, so
yeah.
We're not really learning anything new here, TV show.
Yeah.
So I guess they're going to let us learn later, but right now we were not learning.
They don't want to give it away as if we don't know exactly who
don't want to give it away until tonight.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Yeah, only the 2 dates.
Yeah, because so we had Hidu who picked Jiyeon, but she picked Hyungyu because she had just asked him out on a date, so they don't match up. And Nayeon had picked Gyumin. So yeah, everybody's real bad at matching.
I wrote in my notes, get fucked Naeun.
Yeah, that was a bad pick.
Shortly followed by get fucked Nayeon.
Okay.
They both didn't. Because I think Nayeon's the obvious one. Like she just like got greedy as hell. Because the way that Jiyoung convinced her was like, this is your last chance with Gyumin. Like Tae will still like you even if you don't go on a date with him.
I mean, which is true.
Oh, I mean,
at least in terms of the show,
it wasn't looking great for a second there, but theoretically it's true, but it's not really a real reason to do it.
Yeah.
Necessarily. And then Nayeon's in confessional. I wrote it about Nayeon too because like she was in confessional being like, I can't believe Gyumin didn't pick me. Like she actually seemed like upset that Gyumin didn't pick her, even though we've been saying like, oh, she's definitely picking Hidu by this time. Like she doesn't really care about Gyumin as much, but she does.
She's openly told this man like, I have feelings for my ex, and so I'm probably just gonna do that. And now she's like, I can't believe he didn't pick me.
Yeah,
it's like, well, of course not,
because we're gonna see. We'll see what you have to say about this later, but like, I get the sense that it's not just that Gyumin didn't pick them, but it's who Gyumin chose instead of them.
Oh,
that's what I think is a big factor in this.
Okay, maybe.
And I wrote, I'm rooting for Jisoo and Gyumin now. Like these two actually seem like they might be a good match. Like they're both like fairly bland people, right?
I don't know. I like Jisoo. I don't think she's super bland. She's just not like.
We haven't really gotten to see her. Like she could be more, but like Gyumin is basic as fuck, right? Like.
Yeah.
I don't know. These two were like they were the two that were like going to bed early in the beginning of the show. Like we definitely at one
You mean
point
the responsible adults? Yeah, who don't stay up all night drinking? I thought you'd approve.
they seem like the most mature, probably,
Yeah.
despite the shittiness that I think Human has done on the show.
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
so I feel like there was a one point like earlier in the season where I also said that Jisoo and Human seemed like a good match.
Well, at the very beginning, they were vibing and that they like looked like they were gonna start dating, but like that very first date, he ended up with Nyan, or I forget how it worked out. They
Yeah,
like randomly picked, I think. And then that just kind of set course for how things were gonna go.
yeah. I forget how everything happened too.
I think it was they had to pick the stage of a relationship and they had to go to the location of the guy's breakup or what, that whole shenanigans. And so it was just randomly picking a card, basically. And he got
Yeah,
Nyan.
did Jisoo get screwed out of a date because
She did because
because
she picked the
Yihyun's
guy that left. Yeah, yeah.
Yihyun's ex left, and then yeah, I think she got like screwed out of a date because of it, and
Yeah.
like her date could have been Guman if it worked out differently. I don't know, but yeah, it was
Yep.
kind of just unlucky timing. But ultimately, I feel like Jisoo and Guman might be the best match for each other on the show.
I mean, okay, right now I'm disappointed in Naon for thinking about Guman at all, but I think that she and Tae make a good match.
No, I'm saying for Jisoo and Guman, for like each of them, like who's the
Oh,
best
yeah, yeah.
match
They don't
for
have a better
them.
match. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't love rooting for Guman in any sort of way, but I would like Jisoo to have a better time on this
I'm
show.
mostly rooting for it because Jisoo's storyline is so sad at this point, but
yeah, yeah.
and I'm kind of because I'm so over Heian at this point. The intensity of my dislike for Guman has gone down because all of my
Fair.
all of my reasons for hating Guman were because of how he was treating Heian. But now I hate Heian so much that I really don't care that Guman hates Heian.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm rooting for this couple now. Jisoo and Guman out of nowhere.
Amazing.
And yeah, I feel bad for Tae right now because
Yeah.
his ex just straight up fucked him. At least I was kind of, I don't know. I'm not like super upset with Jian though. It's just kind of funny to watch, honestly.
Yeah, and like Nan was already like bordering on picking Guman anyway. Like she barely tipped it.
Yeah, like Nan was the more at fault here, actually, I think, than Jiyoung.
Yeah.
What would you be thinking right now if you were Tae though? What would you be
Um
your mental state of like, okay, well,
well, I guess it was nice while it lasted, I guess. It's
yeah,
probably
okay,
where I'd be.
you would be pretty negative about it all. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Because Tae's gonna be for the first time like actually upset with Naeun
Yeah.
and not in like a joking way. But I think that's kind of fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also to be fair, like she joined this show like 4 days ago. She hasn't had a chance to date other people and like get to know, like I get it to a certain extent, but like I think it's just the circumstance. Like if she had just met Tae and they went on some dates out in the real world and had a good time, like she wouldn't be worried about it. But because she's on the show, she's like, oh no, I'm missing out. I'm not like dating other people and seeing what's around. So even though things are like good with Tae, she's worried about there might be something better on the show, you know?
Yeah. I think though if I was on the show, part of the reason why I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on is because so many of these guys suck. They suck so bad. Like,
yeah.
who the fuck did she just choose over me? Like,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
And he's gonna
Yeah.
find out that it's Guman later, and he's gonna have like an audible reaction of like, what, Guman? The fucking blandest
Yeah.
person in the world. That's who you chose. I don't know how he would have reacted if she had picked like Wanbin or something. I feel like he might have been surprised, but like wouldn't
Less indignant
like,
about
less,
it.
Yeah, like less offensive if you pick one. It's like you pick Guman over me. Like what? It's also like another girl picking Guman over him again.
Yeah.
It's
But
like,
I mean, she
goddamn.
did just go out on a date with Guman, so like it makes sense that might be somebody that she'd match up with, you know. Whereas if she picked Wanbin, it'd be like, when have you even spoken to each other, you know?
Yeah, but that date was like he did like not. I think he knows like Sorry, how'd that date go?
Nayeon picked Nan for
Guman
Guman
didn't
for
choose
that date.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think he was probably thinking like, this isn't a real date. They
That's
didn't
true.
actually want to date each other. Yeah, but all right. Yeah, Jiyeon had chose Hyungyu. out of nowhere, Hee-do had chosen Ji-young. He actually chose Ji-young. I guess that's not surprising.
Yeah, she's his backup.
Yeah. And then, yeah, there was a miscommunication with Hyungyu, which we'll get into more later. I think at first I believed that Hyungyu didn't hear her. Like, I believed his explanation. But then later, I don't know. I feel like he might be gaslighting a little bit. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either exactly how that went down.
He said he was going to pick Haeun no matter what, which I definitely believe that. All right. We get the intro music.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 18. Not Over You.
Well,
wonder who
that is.
Wonder who that's going to be about. All right.
There is this cute little moment where we get Gyumin and Jisoo like dancing to K-pop music in the smoking area.
This is the
pretty good.
This is the couple of the season right now. This is what we want to see: Jisoo and Gyumin singing and dancing to K-pop. So cute. Actual good content.
He's just there, which is silly.
Yeah, Gyumin, like when Gyumin's like singing K-pop and like doing the K-pop dances, like actually isn't like the most boring person ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, best content ever from Gyumin in this scene, and probably best content from Jisoo too. Like honestly,
yeah,
best scene for both of them in the entire season. So yeah, I'm rooting for this. Why not?
All right, you convinced me. I'm on board. Let's go.
All right. Na-eun and Ji-young are talking and regretting their
decisions.
I don't know. Like I wrote down like Ji-young is just upset that Hyungyu didn't pick her. Like
I think she's also still waffling on the like because she has recently been on the I'm not gonna give up on Hee-do train even though I really want to, and so she's still like kind of like well I shouldn't have done that. I should have just picked Hee-do because I don't know. So there's a little bit of that in there.
Yeah, there is that element, but then like she's not gonna text Hee-do at the end of this day, so like she didn't really like learn her lesson or like change up her strategy after this mistake, right? And the other thing is like there's gonna be this moment with her and Hyungyu where like she's gonna talk about the miscommunication and then she's gonna like look really sad in front of Hyungyu, and then Hyungyu's gonna feel like he has to like console her or like explain himself, and she's gonna say something like, "Oh, that was the worst decision I've made so far in the show," which is saying something, right?
Yeah.
Is it possible she's saying like, does she feel bad for edging Na-eun to pick Gyumin, and she's saying
no,
you don't think so? Okay.
No, I think she's like, I maybe fucked up my last chance to make this Hee-do shit work.
You think so? Okay. You're not going to give her any credit. Okay. All right.
No, because I don't think she would be that upset about like just because Gyumin didn't pick Na-eun back doesn't mean she didn't get what she wanted, which is that Na-eun did not pick Tae, and now there's potentially a wedge there where he's just like, oh, you didn't pick me. This is weird now.
But it could be like, oh, Na-eun convinced her that Gyumin was going to pick him, and then with those variables in play, she was like, oh, I won't feel bad convincing her to go on a date with Gyumin, like she'll still be going on a date. But it's now like, oh, now I convinced her to not pick Tae, and then she didn't even get a date, and now Tae's also not getting a date. Like nobody's getting a date because of what she did. I don't know. I couldn't tell if she was saying that. Like I was just not picking Hee-do for a date. Just cannot be the worst decision you ever made on this TV show.
I think picking Hee-do for a date is probably the worst decision anyone has made on this show.
Exactly. So which is why I was like, what is she referring to when she said that? That's what I was wondering.
But then, like, later she does meet up with Hee-do and they talk, and she still seems, like, upset with herself about the decision she made, like, not picking him. So I think that she is thinking about herself in this moment.
It's, like, pretty much only in front of Hee-do does she talk about how she made a mistake about not picking him. But it's also she's doing it with Hee-do there. But then at the end of the day, she doesn't text Hee-do. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I feel like she's out on Hee-do. And this is why she's like kind of. Did she text him? She might have texted him the previous night, which is why actually Hee-do picked her. Is what he's gonna say. It's a weird dynamic of she texted Hee-do, didn't pick him for a date. Hee-do didn't text her because he texted Na-eun, but then he picked her for the date. So they have like a silly back and forth of like who made the dumber decision or something. Because they're both being inconsistent. Although Hee-do's being consistent because he just couldn't pick his ex, which she's not. She's not really she's not telling us that she's realized that, but I kind of feel like she is realizing that. So
Yeah, she has previously said that like it seems like things are too
yeah,
like he's too much still into Nyan for things to work out between Jiyeon and Hidu. But yeah, and this time she's not mentioning it,
okay. Well, I thought
which is silly.
maybe I could give Jian some credit of at least she's almost instantly regretting steering the ship. steering
Yeah, I just would have
Nine, but I
thought
don't
if
know.
if that was what she had decided was her biggest mistake, she would have like directly said to Nan, like, "Oh no, I should never have pushed you in that direction. Sorry." Like, if she was actually feeling guilty about it, I feel like she would talk to her about it.
Yeah, I don't know where the majority of the guilt comes from. Is it Tae or Na? And I'm not sure. I
Mm,
don't know. We'll see.
okay.
Maybe she's not doesn't feel guilty at all. All right. Um, yeah. Then Hyungyu, I think they're still on the couch at this point. We kind of jumped ahead, but at this point, Hyungyu whispers to Haeun that he thinks Tae didn't choose Naeun, and I was like, oh my god, this is so fucked up. Like,
He has
I
no
I
read on
literally
this
thought
situation.
Han was gonna go around telling people this, and it was gonna be like this whole thing where like Naeun was gonna hear that like Tae also didn't pick her, and then it was gonna be a whole thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thankfully, that doesn't happen. But I was like, why are people speculating? Like, why is Tae the target of the of all
Well, I
of
guess
all
like
this negativity that he hasn't done anything?
well, she's like literally throwing herself backwards onto this couch and like lamenting her choice and just like, "No, why?" But she's not like specifically saying, "No, why did I pick him?" or whatever. So I feel like he's just reading her and seeing that she's really disappointed. So he's like, "Oh, well, Tae must not have picked her."
Yeah, I guess Hyungyu is like assuming like his ex is on the right side of things. I guess he's like, well,
Yeah.
Tae must have done something
Yeah.
over not Naeun. Okay, yeah, Naeun and Tae talk in quotes. But yeah, Tae's like actually upset. Like at first I couldn't tell if he was like teasing, but then she's like trying to talk. She doesn't like immediately apologize, but she's like trying to like re-engage. Like she's trying to be teasy a little bit. And then he
Hmm.
just kind of like puts headphones on and like
Oh,
stops listening to her.
this man has a face mask on, his hood
Yeah.
up, and his headphones over his hood. He does not want to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
He is in sad boy mode.
It's like a little bit childish, but
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
I do think it's fair to be upset though.
Hmm.
Since we have the God view of like we know how serious Tae is, or like how much thought he's
Yeah.
putting into these texts and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And then we know that Naan, for like no reason from our perspective, thinks that Tae like might not be into her.
Yeah.
From that standpoint, I'm definitely sympathetic with Tae. But like if it was just like if I just showed up on day one and I didn't know any, or I showed up on this day and I didn't know all the history or see all the behind the scenes stuff, like I'd be like, so what? She didn't pick you. Like she's just it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, yeah.
But I get it. I mean, I don't know if I'd be this upset if I was Tae, but I get it.
Yeah.
He like basically takes the night and then
Yeah, he resets the
fortunately
next day.
I don't know
Yeah.
what Tae would have done if Naon gave up on him at that point. But Nan is gonna like re-engage the next day and kind of like force him to interact with her,
Yeah.
and then it's kind of at least get back to where it was. Maybe better actually. I'm not sure.
Yeah, like if anything, like him being that upset maybe showed her that he actually does give a shit, you know?
Yeah, which is kind of sad that that needed to happen, but
Yes, yes, very much so.
yeah, I think it's like a fair read from Tae to be like, oh, Nan must not be that into me, or at least she's not as into
Yeah.
me as I am into her.
Absolutely.
I think that's fair, which I think is actually accurate. Ultimately,
Unfortunately, yeah.
yeah, Nayeon does care that Yuman didn't choose her. Seems unfair since she's definitely choosing Hidu in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep,
what is she complaining about? It's pretty much the equivalent.
yep.
It's not as painful to watch, but it's like the equivalent of like Hidu being upset with Ji Young when
Yep. Yep.
it's like, oh no, they're backup persons and not sticking with them.
Yeah. It's amazing when you treat somebody like a backup person, they don't stick around.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and Human must have known Nayeon was going to pick him, right? So I think it means a lot that he didn't pick
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Okay. Everyone is so shocked that Human picked Jisoo.
Yes. Which seems unfair a little bit.
It was surprising, I'll admit. I didn't see it coming, but
Yeah.
it feels like a vibe at least like from the women, that like I can't believe he would pick Jisoo. Like she's such a loser. Is like
Yeah,
kind of
it
the
did
vibe I
get a
get.
little bit of that vibe.
Yeah.
Like if anything, I was shocked that she picked him. I thought she was done with him, like that happened a while ago.
I wasn't just because like she has to choose someone from that standpoint, and I'm glad she didn't pick Hidu. So
Yeah. But she could have picked Tae.
could've
Tae's
picked
always
Tae.
a strong option.
yeah, like ultimately, I think her choice makes sense and like is somewhat accurate to feelings at least she used to have.
Yeah. I just did not see it coming.
But really, like, so it's gonna be like Haeun and Naeun are gonna talk about this a lot,
Hmm.
and then eventually they're gonna like call Jisoo over, like to really like interrogate her about
Find out
what,
what's going
yeah.
on.
It really feels like Jisoo is like the high school nerd who's like dating the hot guy, and they're like how this doesn't even make sense. Like
I'm gonna try to give people the benefit of the doubt and be like, they have not seen them interact in that way in a while, so it just seems surprising that they've paired up.
it's a little too much, I think. For
Yeah, you're right.
that.
There's some mean girl shit going on here.
I mean, Jisoo, we don't get anything from Jisoo, but like, I don't know. But what was the moment? I feel like there was one moment where Jisoo definitely gets offended by Nayeon at one point, where like, because oh yeah, Nayeon picks Jisoo to date Hidu, and she's like,
Hmm.
she definitely picked me because she's like the least threatened by me. So,
Yeah.
and that's might be a popular opinion among a lot of the girls, not just Nayeon. It's because I get the same vibe from Haeun and Naeun right here.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But it turns out that, and Jisoo's gonna tell them like, oh, Yumin actually asked her to hang out tomorrow. Yumin kind of pulled the same move that,
Yeah, right after the letter showed up, he was like, whispered at her, like, hey, you want to hang out tomorrow?
because Jisoo, I believe, texted Yumin the previous day, right?
Or today, because they texted before this letter showed up. Yeah, so.
So Jisoo did like re-engage with Yumin. It wasn't like totally out of nowhere. And then we see this like is actually true. It's not just something Jisoo said. So it did happen.
Yeah.
I wrote down some quotes from
Okay.
Naeun's confessional specifically in
All right, let's
regards
hear it.
to her reaction to Yumin picking Jisoo.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I said to start.
Uh-huh.
The first thing she says is, I think Yumin just wanted to go on a date. And then she says, or maybe he's interested in Jisoo. And then she elaborates even more. She said, I would have understood if he wanted to go on a date with Nayeon. And then I put in parentheses, because she's cool. And then she says, I guess he really just wanted to go on a date. She's like, keeps saying this. She even says, if he just wanted to go on a date, though, then he should have just asked me. And then she says, Yumin wasn't being honest, like, with his feelings when he chose
or with his like
date.
pick. Yeah,
that's the big one where it's like, I know Yumin better than he knows himself. And
I met him 2 days ago.
Yeah, he definitely isn't into Jisoo. Because I've decided Jisoo isn't cool enough to date Yumin. I don't know. It's highly suspect.
It is.
Yep, I wrote, okay, turns out Nan is a shitty person too. I'm so out now on Earth.
Okay, of all that was my
reaction
is a
in the
small shitty thing that may be explained by just she's not seen them interact. She doesn't she would understand if you picked Nayeon because he's been dating her this whole time, and she thought the connection on her date with Yumin was a little stronger, where she just she really thought he would pick her, so she's just confused, and maybe it's not as harsh and mean as it sounds.
But if you look at this along with she was quoted earlier saying oh, I thought all the guys would be into me when I came on the show. Didn't she say something like that?
Yeah, she's like, she admits that she's narcissistic, and she's like, yeah, I just assumed when I got here all the guys would be into me.
I let her pass on that a little bit because she was at least self-aware of it, but she's not self-aware enough to realize that, oh, maybe a guy just because she thinks another girl is less attractive than her doesn't mean that a guy that she thinks is attractive won't think that girl is more attractive than her. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
She's not flat out saying it, but I really feel confident about how I'm reading in between the lines here. So,
But also at the same time, how much of a legitimate date do you feel like this is even? Like I feel like it's Guman is settling into his, well, I'm not getting anywhere on this show era. And so he's just like, friendship date with Jisoo, let's go.
and that's fine. But also, like, how much of that was a serious date for Naeun? And she's still having this reaction. Like, I'm pretty sure she's on record saying like, yeah, I didn't have much feelings with Guman. like, like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like it's not like this happened. It's not even a guy that she's like obsessed about and really.
I mean,
wanted to
she
go on a
is
date
a
with.
little obsessed about him, though. Like,
I think she's more obsessed
she's
about
a little
not being picked by him than
no, like
anything else.
before this, like just the fact that she had this big like back and forth on, ooh, should I pick Guman or not? And she's been like, you know, like talking to Jian in the previous episode about like, oh, I really want to go on a date with Guman. Like I feel like she's built it up where like even though she didn't actually super enjoy her time with him, she's like, oh no, he's probably a good pick. I should probably date him. Like she's obsessed with him in a weird way that I don't get.
I don't view it
But
that way. I view it as she's not all in with Tae, so she's like trying to explore other options, and Guman is like the other options she's exploring, but it's not like
yeah.
It's
That's
not
the
like
one she's like latched onto.
it's not like she was like, oh, I had this one. I talked to Guman and it was amazing, and I really want to go on a date with him. It was just kind of like she was flipping a coin between two people she's like whatever about, and then she still has this like huge reaction to Jisoo like beating her essentially. So it's like I don't know. It reads to me like more upset that it's Jisoo than Guman not picking her. Honestly,
I think like her pride's hurt a little bit right now.
Yeah,
and it comes out as
it's a very ugly
lashing
look.
out in a Jisoo way.
It's an ugly look.
But I don't think this makes her unredeemable, like on this show.
No, I mean, like ultimately, like if she talks to Tae, they work it out. Like theoretically, how Naeun treats or thinks about women that she deems to be lesser than herself won't have an impact on her and Tae's relationship. But it's ugly for sure. But yeah. In the heat of the moment, I wrote in my notes, I'm officially rooting for no one to match at the end of this show.
Aww.
Nobody on the show.
Wait. Jisoo Tae. There we go.
I mean, if there was anything there, maybe I could look at it, but I wrote, except Hidu and Naeun because they're meant for each other.
Oh, no. That needs to never happen again.
Also, I'm down for the miracle where Jisoo and Guman somehow match, but
Okay.
I think by the end of this episode, I'll be back to like, at least I'm willing to watch Naeun and Tae, but
okay.
I don't think it's is any relation. I mean, Hidu and Naeun are probably the most likely to have a long-term relationship after this show.
Well, that doesn't count though.
Doesn't count
because they already were. Their prior emotional entanglements have brought us to this stage with them, and so I don't feel like that counts as like people getting together on a show.
Every other relationship in the show, like less than a month.
Okay,
and that's very generous, I think. Yeah, she also says again, like when she's explaining, I think she's explaining to like Jisoo and Han, I guess they're all talking. She says again, I also just like don't know how Tae really feels about me.
Oh yeah, and Jisoo, I forget what she actually says, but she's basically like, "Are you dumb? He's like totally into you."
And Jisoo's like, what do you mean he doesn't like you? Like he's texting you like paragraphs.
Yeah.
And then she like points out a bunch of other stuff too. Yeah. And then I also wrote like, oh yeah, like I wonder if he likes you. Like, why would he be upset that you didn't pick him if he didn't like you?
Well, maybe she doesn't really like Guman, but she's upset that he didn't pick her. So, you know.
Wait, who's upset?
Naeun's upset that Guman didn't pick her.
Naeun's upset that Guman picked Jisoo. That's what I'm saying.
Well, he's upset that he didn't pick her.
She didn't get picked. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so she might be seeing Tae's reaction in that light. I don't know.
I guess that could make sense. But ultimately, again, we've said before is like, Naeun is saying, "Oh, I don't know how much Tae really likes me, but what she actually means is I don't really like Tae that strongly. And she's trying to like
probably.
project it on that, oh, he must not like me very strongly if I don't like him very strongly, or whatever logic she's using. So
Yeah, I think you're right there.
yeah.
I just want it to not be true.
All right. Yeah, Jiyeon's gonna be like super sulky around Hyungyu, and Hyungyu's gonna feel the need to be like, let's go to my room and drink and talk, right?
Yeah, but like, so while he's leading her to his room, like Nan, Jisoo, and Haeun are outside talking, and so he like walks over to them and he's like, "Just gonna go talk to Jiyeon real quick about some like." He's like laying the groundwork of like, this is not a romantic discussion I'm about to have. Don't read into this.
He's like super weird about it though, because like, I believe like yeah, we're gonna see what this conversation is, and it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But he like goes to the kitchen, grabs a bottle of wine, says, "Jiyeon, come to my room so we can talk."
Yeah.
And like tells the other three girls like, "Yeah, well, I'm just gonna go drink with Jiyoung in my room right now." It's like, why is there drinking involved? Like,
because everyone is always drinking on the show at night.
But it definitely seems more romantic if you're drinking.
I guess.
I don't know. Ultimately, I did a little bit of speculating on what this was going to be, but ultimately, basically, Hyungyu just wants to make his feelings for Jiyoung clear, so he invites her to his room just to like reject her to her face. So basically, is what this.
But
is.
To give her some privacy while he rejects her, you know?
Yeah, but it's like he already rejected her, but now he wants to just like really make sure.
Well,
she understands.
Not only he's just like also like getting her to stop being like annoyed at him, because he's just like seems vaguely annoyed that like, well, because he more or less said yes to a date and then did not pick her, but he's like goes through all these steps. He's like, was there something going on between us that I was not aware of? Like, was there anything that made you think that this was gonna happen? Because I'm all in on Haeun. That's it. That's all that's happening. And she's like,
yeah,
okay.
But this is where I think like he must be gaslighting her a little bit with like, oh, I couldn't hear you excuse. Like he definitely, I don't know what he did or what he was thinking, but I feel like he definitely, since like Haeun and Jiyoung both think he agreed to a date, and then he's for some reason he feels guilty, which is probably the biggest clue that, oh, he is gaslighting her a little bit. Like, oh, he did say something, but then he realized he shouldn't have said it, but didn't like tell her that I changed my mind before.
I think what has happened is that she has not expressed any interest in him prior to this. So when she said, let's hang out tomorrow, he did not connect it in his brain that it was a date. Like, I don't know if you've ever had a situation where you look back and went, oh, fuck, that person was flirting with me. But I have. And I didn't know it at the time. And so I think that this is what has happened. And so he's like, yeah, sure, we'll hang out or whatever. I did not think it was the date. And so now once the context comes up, he understands that she was actually asking him for a date. Now he feels bad.
See, that explanation makes sense. But that is not the explanation he chooses to say. He chooses to say, oh, I couldn't hear you. Is that just because he didn't want to look stupid? Like, he should have been like, oh, I was being dumb. Like, I actually just didn't think you were asking me on a date. I thought you just wanted to hang out. Like, that's a fair explanation.
I mean, he does at some point say like, yeah, we can, you asked to get a meal. We can get a meal afterwards. Like, what, we can eat chicken anytime or something.
Yeah, but it was
like
so
what he said.
awkward. Like, he just kept, I don't know. I don't really get this whole thing that he's doing. Like, it's clearly stemming from like a position of guilt where it's like, I just feel like he shouldn't be guilty unless he is doing something that I don't get why he should be feeling guilty. And then like, he shouldn't feel guilty, but then because he feels guilty, he's gonna like pull her aside and really like make it clear that she was never an option. Like, it just seems a little cruel, honestly.
No, I mean, I give him points for like being very clear of like, hey, just so we're on the same page here, not gonna happen, only interested in that girl. Like, instead of being vague and like not addressing it, like I always like a straightforward approach.
I just don't get the whole, maybe it's drinking thing again. Like, I just don't get the whole follow me and drink wine with me, and then it seems like he sets it up like it's going to be maybe something, only to then reject her. So that's why it's weird to me.
I think he just wanted to give her privacy while he rejected
But
her.
you don't
and
have to
just everybody's
bring
drinking all the time.
wine
Like
or-
that's
I don't know. Okay,
that
whatever.
that is
I don't
that
get
is
it.
a cultural
I
difference.
don't
here.
get
Like,
it. I don't get
these
it.
folks are drinking every night. Like that is part of the vibe.
All right, I don't get it. All right. Ultimately, like that's what I'm like. It's totally fair he didn't pick her, no matter what he said. Like I just don't. It's just too much extra stuff here. That's my issue.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then at the end of it, he's like, "I have said what I wanted to say. Now please leave my room." So
And she's
there was
just like,
nothing.
but one more drink, and he's
There was
like,
nothing particularly
nope.
friendly about all this. That's why it's like I don't know. It seemed like too much. Yeah, so he like kicks her out of the room basically, and then they both leave the room. I am done hanging out with you. You have served your purpose in my guilty feelings. Now please. All right.
Goodbye.
Yeah. But Heian sees them leave and is super jealous because it looks like a romantic situation. To be
Yes.
fair. I mean, like I immediately wrote after this, like, oh, Heian is such an ugly personality, but
yeah.
ultimately,
she
like,
does.
I agree. It at least looks like it might be a romantic situation. Would I then be super jealous? And because of that,
Eddie.
seeing that, no, I wouldn't. But I would be like, oh, maybe they have something and I didn't realize.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he comes to collect her. He's like, here, come drink with me. And she's just like, I thought you were drinking with Gia. And,
Yeah,
just
she's like
meh.
super defensive and jealous and like,
Yeah.
yeah. Should we do a ranking at the end of the show of the ugliest personalities?
Oh, yes. Yes, we
You want
should.
to do that? Not like we're not gonna rank best personality down to the bottom. It's like ugliest personality at the top.
Yes.
'Cause,
yes, definitely.
I'll say Heian is
Yeah. Yeah.
gonna be
Even though I am
very
still
high on
clinging
my
to this,
list.
I am clinging to this hope that she's gonna fix herself and there's gonna be a thing at the end. I do not think she's good. No,
Well.
I don't like her personality.
I think it's gonna be hard to take the number one spot, but Heian might be number two for me right now.
Ooh,
That's all
wait,
bad.
who's number one?
I mean, you know who number one is.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Because we hadn't been talking about them, I kind of forgot about how bad he is.
I know.
Okay, you're
Just
right.
that
You're right.
it feels good when we don't talk about certain people. All right. Well, don't spoil that rankings. We'll do it.
And everyone listening, feel free, give us your rankings
give
of
us your
worst
rank.
person
Worst.
to least to worst person.
It's ugliest personality. That's what we want.
Okay.
That's the phrasing I used at least. Yeah. Hyungwoo even calls her out about it. Calls Heian out about it. Like, oh, are you like jealous or something about the conversation with? Because I talked to Jiyoung.
Mm-hmm.
She like says like, oh, she thinks he's like a player now, which is like the the translation that gets used. Like, oh, he's like some sort of ladies' man.
Well, I think like
talking to more
like he actually says that. Like he's like, did you think I was some kind of player? And she's like, yes, of course I did, absolutely.
Oh, is that how it was presented? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is a dumb term to be throwing around on a dating show. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, then they go to his room and he explains that
Yeah.
that was not going to be a thing, and that he directly tells her, I'm only going to develop my relationship with Haeun.
He tells her exactly what happened, and Heian is still skeptical. Massive red flag. Again, the wine thing was weird. I don't get that. But like,
okay,
if you're just like, especially in the context of the show, you're like, all right, I'm just gonna take like this. It could not have been more than 10 minutes. It wasn't like they were in there for that long. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna take 10 minutes, talk a one-on-one with another woman on the show, and now like everything he's done with Heian is potentially like gonna be out the window. No matter
I think
how
by
much
the end
he
of
tells
this,
the
though,
truth.
like she chills out about it, right? She doesn't bring it up again. It's fine, right?
Yeah, I guess, but it's just ugly. All right.
Oh yeah. I just don't think it's going to be a lasting thing that we
I wrote
have to deal with again.
Hyungyu, get out while he's so good. Yeah, what happened in Heian's life that makes her like this? I was wondering because
Human.
like, no,
Human is what happened in her life.
See, like, but it doesn't seem like humans, like whatever behavior he had with Heian would make her like this. Like, Human doesn't seem like the person that's like talking to a bunch of women.
That's true. She even says as much that he's not that person. Like she tries to fake it in one of the X rooms or something. Not the X room, but the talking room.
I think what she said is like, oh, Human does have a lot of women friends, but she's not jealous about it.
Yeah, like he was
But
always very
maybe
clear
she
about
was
it. Like he was
lying.
never. Well,
Maybe
she
she was
lied at
lying
some
about
point.
it. Yeah, she definitely lied about something, but maybe she was always. I don't know.
Yeah, she
I don't
said
know what's
in
going
the
on with
talking
Hayan.
room that he had a lot of girls who were friends and that it gave her a hard time.
But
But
that was
then
to
in her
like.
confessional, yeah, that was to like put people off of Guman. And then in her confessional, she's like, I told them that he talked to a lot of girls. That guy doesn't. He talked to girls, but it never made me feel bad. Like he was on the
Yeah,
up and
but
up.
maybe
with
she
that,
lied
so.
in the confessional about how it made her feel. That's what I'm wondering. I
I
don't know.
don't know.
How has she come this far to where now? Because it's not even somebody that Guman is talking to that she's jealous this time. It's like this other guy that's not Guman, even though she's still interested in Guman. And
Yeah.
now she's I don't know.
She's interested in two guys now.
I don't get it. Yeah, she's interested in two guys, but is not happy if those guys are interested in someone besides her.
Yes.
Yes. All right, makes sense, I guess. All right, it's the next day.
Yes.
I am sure I am skipping things in this episode. I don't know if you've noticed. I don't remember what they are.
Minor things. Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
I don't know what they are, but you haven't interrupted me yet, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So we start off with Haeun and Nayeon talking about last night, and basically Haeun was like, I didn't really think I had strong feelings for him, but then I got very jealous, so I must like him.
Why does she like Cuban so much if she was never jealous? How does this work? I don't know.
Well, I guess
How does she know if she likes anybody?
like the context is important. Like they're specifically right now on a dating show, and
I
he
know.
went and had an alone talk with a girl. So whereas Human was just existing in a world where other women exist, and I don't know.
It's still just like another case of like, yeah, when I go on a date with him, I don't feel super strongly. But then when I talk to Naeun, I feel really good about Hyungyu. And then when I see Hyungyu with another woman, then I feel really something. But like, it's always like the intensity of her feelings for Hyungyu are always like the prime reason that she likes him is not going on dates with him.
I don't think that's true. That has progressively become less true because
I don't know.
She has said that like the only time she's happy is when she's on dates with him, like because she's not thinking about Guman and whatever. And she specifically said she's had really good times on dates. So I think like at the beginning it was like that, but it is at this point she's gone on enough dates where she just actually really likes going on dates with him.
But it's different to be like, okay, when she goes on the dates with Hyungyu, she doesn't like think about Guman as much, and she's not surrounded by all these other morons that she's living with that are making her feel a certain way.
Yeah.
So she is happier on the dates with Hyungyu, but how she feels about Hyungyu is not the most intense when she's on the date with Hyungyu. It's like when she's talking to Naeun or Hyungyu's like talking to another girl. That's when her feeling.
I don't know. I don't know that that's true. I think it started that way. Like. I think it is less true now.
All right. To me, it's like it's not like if you feel like some sort of realization that you have is like, oh, when I saw somebody flirting, somebody that I liked or think I like flirting with somebody else, and then I got jealous, that is what made me realize how much I like them. Like to me, that's
not great.
Yeah, it's not a sign that you really like somebody for like who they are. It's like a sign that she's just a jealous and possessive person. Like that's what it is. Comes down to.
Yeah, it is definitely.
So again, it's not ideal.
No, not at all.
So and then we cut to Heedu. I'll talk about this man.
Okay.
Because he's gonna go to Jiyoung's room and walk in.
Just gonna walk straight in. She is still in bed.
Yeah, because he needs to wake her up. Just to confront her about her conversation with Hyungyu last night.
Yes.
Because Heedu is also a jealous and possessive person.
Yes, he is.
So, okay. Literally, we see nothing other than him be like, so what did you talk to Hyungyu last night? And she was like, it was nothing. I think she like tries to maybe initiate some sort of hanging out today. And he
she says they should go grocery shopping.
And then he just kind of like keeps talking about Hyungyu.
Yep.
And just kind of leaves without making any plans with her.
There are so many people who say that they should go grocery shopping today, and nobody does. And I
not that we see, at least.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, Tae does go to like the convenience store at one point in this episode, but we don't really see it.
Yeah, but it's not a grocery shopping date.
Yeah,
we just get teased a lot with the idea of a grocery shopping date, and it never happens.
Yeah. All right. let's do these 2 dates.
Okay.
Let's do Hyungyu and Haeun first.
All right.
They are going to do paintings. They're gonna paint.
Okay, but first, like, apparently he went to a photo booth and took a bunch of pictures of just himself and gave them to her like the night before or something.
Yes, that's what I thought that was, but I was just like, I didn't really get it, so I didn't write it down. Is that what happened?
Yes. He's like, here, you need some pictures of me that I went and took in a photo booth.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a standard move. It felt a little silly to me.
I get it is like a bit of a power move, I guess. It's like, hey, I'm assuming you're taking this relationship as serious as I am, so of course you want these photos of me. I guess I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. It's just like the idea of the solo photo booth situation was silly.
It's kind of weird it's a photo booth, yeah. Like but he probably didn't have a way to like take pictures on his phone and then go get them printed out. It was just like easier to go to this photo booth. It's probably what it was. Because it's probably I think there's a better way to do this. I don't hate it. It's not something I would do, but I think it does illustrate the seriousness of his
on his part, definitely.
In the relationship, but yeah, they're gonna do paintings, but they're gonna be doing their paintings separately. So this is a lame activity in my opinion.
But also, like, it's not even one of those like paint by number, like sip and paint things. It's just literally like, here's a canvas, go at it, and I'm like, okay, that's assuming a lot of skills.
And then the paintings they do are absolute garbage.
He just paints his entire canvas blue. Like, I mean, there's some shades and shit, but he's just like, is blue.
Yeah. And it's better than Haeun.
Well, she tried to do something that meant something. So it's like the back of their heads watching the sunset. And then there's like fish in the water because they went fishing together. So like, she's trying to do a symbolic thing. Yeah. It's just, she's not a painter, so it looks not great.
She was like trying to explain it, but when I looked at it, it just looked like the ocean with a sunset and the beach with a couple rocks. And then she was like talking about his head, and I just couldn't even imagine what she was referring to in the picture, so I wasn't following
there are like 2 blobs on the one side, and it is the back of their head.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
All right. Okay.
But they do finish his painting together, so there's a little collaboration.
I was so confused. I thought they were doing a third painting until I realized like blue. Well, it's like they just let his blue paint dry and then like repainted the whole thing black.
No, I thought they just put more blue on it.
Did they? It just got darker. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
The darker blue.
It's fine. It's abstract or whatever. It's a mood piece.
It would have been cooler like if they had talked and then like both tried to make a painting like the one Haeun did, where it was like meaningful. That's where to me that's where this activity should have been. But whatever. Tufting or whatever it's called, still the best.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Crafts date I've seen. All right, then they're gonna go to a restaurant. Haeun does get to feed Hyungyu.
Yes, he's like fixing her. She brought her glass bell thing from their other date.
She literally like carries that everywhere. I think.
Everywhere. Yeah. And it's like broken or tangled or something, and he's trying to fix it. And so while he tries to fix it, she just like feeds him because their food comes out.
It was like a little bit of a hack, but I guess it counts. Getting the feed going. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go. He's gonna ask her ideal type. Apparently, this hasn't come up yet.
Yeah.
With them,
she says, "Someone smart who works out and has a warm body."
If you know what I'm saying.
Yes. And then she says she doesn't really like men who are too handsome.
Yeah, so fucking hate those guys.
Thick burn on human, I guess.
Yeah, and then I didn't even put that together, but then she's gonna say it again in the Truth or Dare game, and then human's gonna be like, "Wow, that's a real burn on me, isn't it?" Like human actually brings it up. That was so funny.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, what kind of like? I at least for Hyungyu, she did say like, "Oh, I usually don't like handsome guys," as saying like, "Oh, he is handsome."
Yeah.
But like, I feel like you just don't say that no matter who you're trying to date. It's just I think weird.
Like she said what her ideal type was, and then he's like, "Oh, so you're not really worried about looks or whatever." And then she responded with, "Yeah, I don't really like guys who are too handsome."
Oh, okay.
And she
'Cause
did not explain it.
She didn't
But yeah.
mention looks in the initial. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Even though I feel like somebody who works out implies something about looks, but you know.
Yeah. So
But I guess not facial looks is maybe what he was. I don't know.
I guess, yeah.
But I mean, I can understand her being like, I don't want a pretty boy. That you can't trust them. They're, you know, they're gonna go and have a drink with other people in their room or something. You know, like
that's fucked up. But that's what she thinks.
Oh yeah, that's fucked up. But I think that lines up with her personality and what she's shown us so far. You know?
That's like some bullshit that guys say about girls they think are attractive. That shit.
Yeah,
that shit comes up on Big Brother a ton,
Oh,
especially
yeah?
this
Okay.
season. Yeah. Okay, then she's gonna ask him if he expected her to pick him.
And she's all like, "I bet you weren't sure. You didn't know."
And he's like, "Yes, I expected you to pick me."
And he's like, "Oh, well, that must have just been because you know I couldn't pick my ex." And then he's like, "Would you have picked your ex if you could have?" And she says, "No, like a liar."
He's like, "No, I'm just saying that you would have guessed it since I couldn't choose my ex."
Yeah, smooth cover up there, Hagen. Yeah,
Yeah, right,
Mhm.
Hagen.
we
feel
all
like-
believe you.
I feel like she knows she just said something she shouldn't have said.
Yes.
Okay, she
Yes.
kind of looks that way. She's like, I've been trying to hide this, and I just couldn't. in this moment."
But then they also have like a staring contest where they just stare deeply into each other's eyes, and the music is like crazy during this date. Like, if I'm reading the edit at all, the music is saying that they're going home and having a million babies. Like after this show, like that's
really?
the big romantic swell of music is just like this is happening.
No amount of good music can make me feel like anything's happening with these people at this point.
I don't know.
I couldn't
The
even tell
edit
you what the
has
music
told
was.
me that it is gonna happen.
I noticed a few times when there was like dramatic music, but I'm really not picking up on like the "hey, we're gonna convince you this is a thing" music.
Oh no,
Whatever.
it was
this.
big,
It was this scene.
dramatic, romantic music.
I mean,
that
they're
was
looking
happening
into each
during
other's
this scene.
eyes, even though like it's a staring contest, but they like are looking. Into
Well,
each other's eyes.
it was during like lots of parts of this date though.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it was not just that.
Hayan also says at some point, in any case, it's an honor to have an unexpected date with you. Unexpected? Unexpected? We just talked about how I thought you were going to pick me, so what's so unexpected about this?
I don't know.
Hyungyu is confused, as he should be.
I am also confused, but yeah.
Okay, I wrote, I'm done with this date. Anything else, Sarah? There might be more, but
I mean,
I'm done.
there is more date. They go to a cafe, they look at the water. He has preemptively brought a jacket to keep her warm before she even says she's cold. There's a lot more staring, and then there's a cat, and the cat does not punch him, unlike the cat back at the house that they live in right now. There we go.
There you go. All right. Jisoo and Gyumin Day. This is the last hope for this TV show, potentially. In this moment, that's what I felt. The last hope. Our last hope on this TV show is Jisoo and Gyumin.
That's pretty bad. Because I gotta say, there is no romantic swell of music during this date.
Oh, yeah, there isn't. But going into it, that's what I was thinking. Their outfits match. I actually wrote down a lot of more stuff than I normally do because I was just like really hoping this was going to be a thing.
Yeah, they accidentally kind of match, so that's good.
Yeah, their outfits match. And I was like, oh, they look cute together with their somewhat matching outfits. And I was like, oh, I actually like Jisoo's outfit on this date. Usually I'm not that impressed by anybody's outfit.
Okay.
Some sort of like off the shoulder top with jeans. Pretty casual and cute. All right.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I was getting myself amped up for a good date here. All right.
So they go on a like weird looking boat, and then it turns out to be like you can go below deck and it's just windows so you can like see the fish underwater, except they both get terribly seasick immediately.
It was like they both get seasick, but it was like funny and kind of cute to watch how they were. Like at first it seemed like they were both equally seasick. It's going to turn out like Gyumin is going to be struggling a lot more, I think.
Yeah.
This boat thing, I was so confused by it at first until they went underneath. But after they went underneath, like based on the camera shot, I was like, I've definitely seen like these boats used on like The Amazing Race, where like they would have a challenge where they had to like the boat would like take them on a path, and then they had to like remember the order of like country flags as they were going underwater. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I have seen these things before. It does look cool. Like It is
Yeah.
like a very kind of like intimate space, and you're like
Oh yeah.
underwater. So I actually think it's like a really good date for the show, but then they both got seasick, so it was like
Yeah, yeah.
it didn't
And
work out.
it seemed like it started when they went below deck, and then they were like, "Oh, let's get out of here." And then at some point the boat guy's like, "Okay, go back down." And like the boat is really rocking, and Kit was just like, "Oh fuck, we got to go down there again."
It seemed like it would be way worse above deck because they were actually like
Yeah.
you were moving a lot more above deck than below deck, but maybe the underwater feeling was also bad. I don't know.
Yeah. But then so they just like stand in the bottom during their second, and they seem to have a better time of it. Like they found the spot to stand to feel the least amount of like
Yeah.
rocking.
Human's pretty feeling it the whole time, I think. But I don't know. I still thought maybe I was just super optimistic going into this, so I still thought it was like funny and cute to watch, even though
Yeah.
it wasn't anything really. And then they go to a restaurant. Did you catch the name of this restaurant?
It is called Adult Bambino.
Which I've only heard the term Bambino as a nickname for the baseball player Babe Ruth. He was known as like the Great Bambino.
Yeah, I think it's like Italian or something for baby, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's like a baby or small child is the meaning, but I think like in Italian it's like specifically like a male child because like a bambina. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not that they're necessarily using the bambino for the which gender it is or whatever, but
Right.
yeah. So the meaning it's like adult baby is the name of this restaurant.
Yeah, and then so I saw the name of the restaurant, and then I just got distracted because they have these like giant blankets or giant napkins or small blankets in their laps that have like dinosaurs on them. But like the
Oh,
restaurant itself looks really kind of classy, right? But then you've got these like big colorful dinosaur napkin
I
blankets
totally
in
missed
their
that.
laps. And I guess they're trying to mix the classiness of adulthood with dinosaur blankets. I don't know, it was very distracting for me.
Interesting. I totally missed that. Okay. Are these real restaurant names? There's been a few crazy ones that
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a joke. Like I thought it was a fake one, but then they did have the dinosaur napkins. I don't know. That makes me feel like maybe it really was the name.
so it's like adult atmosphere with baby
Baby stuff.
baby
I don't know.
stuff.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's been a couple ridiculous restaurant names to the point where like I don't know if these are like fake restaurant names that the show is like they don't want to use
They don't
the
want
real
to like
one.
advertise the real place.
The show just has fun making up like really dumb restaurant names, or it's just like a really
Maybe the show made up the name and then brought the giant napkin blankets or whatever to be like, look, it's adult baby. We did it. It's not a real restaurant.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Or it's just like something lost in translation. Also, could just
Yeah,
be
that
true.
might also be true.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this date doesn't go on too much longer. Jisoo kind of just talks about her bad luck from the beginning of the show. Yeah, like she didn't go on the first round of dating, which when I was watching this, I couldn't really remember what that was, but I think it's back when Yi Hyun's ex decided to leave the show, and I'm forgetting his name. It was like
Minji, Min something.
yeah.
It's been a long time. I don't remember.
Hmm. Sorry, unforgettable character. Yeah, and she just kind of says she's grateful to Guman for comforting her while she was struggling on the show.
Yeah, this is not a romantic date.
It's not a romantic date, but I wouldn't be surprised if this leads to them picking each other.
But like a friendship exit of the show, not like an actual,
Yeah. What's also kind of weird about this is that maybe Jisoo's just properly reading Guman, but like we're mostly going to get Jisoo's perspective on this date, and her perspective is kind of like, oh, there's no chance Guman's picking me.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I feel like he is going to pick you, Jisoo, but like she's like preemptively decided that it's not going to happen. So I don't know how she's going to feel if it does happen, you know? Like I feel like she does kind of like Guman, and Guman might also kind of like her.
They did have a vibe in the beginning of the season.
There's just like this weird part of the show's existence where there's not really enough time left.
Yeah.
And they still might end up picking each other, but neither one of them feels like the other person is serious about it.
Yeah.
Even though they like, I don't know, they could be I don't know. It's like something that could be a thing if they chose to pursue it after the show is over. Is kind of how I feel.
I feel like Jisoo just wants to go home and put this whole fucking thing behind her and never think about these people again.
That's true. Yeah, it's like if you don't have anything strong when you leave the show, it's like, are you really gonna put in the effort to go see somebody unless it's like hella convenient?
When you're back out in the real world and all of the normal dating pool is back and accessible to you, like, why come back to this? I don't know.
True. All right, let's go back to the house.
It's time for another letter. And it's one of those move to this location right now letters. So they have to leave.
Yeah. So everybody's going to meet at this location. They've done this before. Even the date people are going to get the same information.
Mm-hmm.
When the no date people are leaving, though, Naeun does sneak into Tae's car to ride with him.
Yes. She's trying to like fix this situation.
Yeah. It is nice to see her kind of give Tae a pass on however he decided to act after it and just try to get it back together. But it's also like, now that Yuma didn't pick her, Tae's is her only option on the show. So
yeah.
There's not a lot of like obvious meaning behind her actions. It's just kind of like, oh, this is like it's the show's like kind of getting to the point where like people's decision is being made for them instead of them making their decision. And that's kind of, I don't know. Not how I want to feel at the end of these shows. I like to feel like, these people, they're going to give it a go after the show's over. But don't really feel that way about this season.
Not at all.
And Jiyeon's gonna, this I enjoyed, Jiyeon's gonna snipe the passenger seat in Heedu's car.
Yep.
And make
she didn't want to watch him and Naeun in the front seat.
Make
so
Naeun.
Like, it's mine.
Yeah, see, I like that. No, she knows what she's doing. I like when we get to see we know what she's doing, and she I don't even think she wants to get like it to work out with Heedu. It's just like, I can't watch Naeun and Heedu in the front seat. I have to separate them.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
We do get Haeun and Hyungyu driving to the place, and she's really nervous. So he just full on grabs her hand, and he's like, "It's gonna be okay. I'm with you." And it is cute.
There's a big reaction from the hosts, right, when he does this.
Yeah.
And they're saying, and I kind of got the same feeling, but I'm not really sure. Like
she's a little shocked by
she
it.
Freezes up as if like, I don't know if it's because she wasn't expecting it, or maybe she thinks it's a little too much. Like, I don't know if she's like totally comfortable with it. Like, what's your read on her reaction?
This is the first time they're holding hands this intensely while they're sober.
Yeah, that's
so
what I'm
she's
thinking.
A little surprised by it.
Yeah, which makes me think like what she did while she was drunk was not something she would have done if she was not. I
think it's just crossing that like that threshold of like because it's the first time when they've been sober, it's kind of like the first time that he's really like grabbed her hand and like this intensely. Like, so it's just that reaction to that first time situation.
I guess. Okay. It's weird to me like they've already done it. Like, theoretically he's only doing it because she was the one who kind of initiated it, and it's like it shouldn't be weird that he's doing it now, but then it's like she's the one that is like taken aback by it, which is just weird for me to watch. But
well, I think like she was maybe feeling bad that she had like foisted that on him before and didn't really like, this is him reciprocating that without any prompting from her, right? So it's like, oh, he is okay with this. This is where this is going. All right,
I also feel like they went back to it after the host kind of reacted, and I was like, maybe she didn't really freeze that long. Like, might have been an overreaction.
Just a moment of surprise. Yeah. I think their biggest reaction was to like, oh, he just full on grabbed her hands. This is happening. Okay.
Yeah, they're all gonna meet in this like fancy cozy lodge / restaurant. I'm not sure.
There is a giant dog that we never get to see again.
Yeah.
It made me sad because it looked like a real fluffy boy.
Okay. Gyuman and Jisoo arrive first, then the no daters, then Haeun and Hyungyu are last. They all eat, basically. Nothing
They're
major,
staying in like a big U-shaped couch situation, so they can all look at each other for the awkwardness that is about to ensue.
And then they get a letter.
We will play Truth or Dare for the final selection. You may only refuse to answer one question. You must answer truthfully to the rest of the questions. You may ask questions to people of any gender. The first person to ask a question is Pak Nayeon. I don't know what they mean by for the final.
Naeun. Naeun is
Naeun. I'm always fucking up her name. God damn it.
Naeun.
I don't know what they mean by final selection. Like what?
I still think it's like it should be before.
Before the final selection.
But it's not even. It's not even right before final selection. Like they did this on Heart Signal when like right before final selection, didn't they?
Yeah.
But this isn't. This is like before they go on a final date with their ex, and then I guess the last date is final selection.
I guess.
Is that what the show is like? They make them not date their ex up until the last day, and then they make them date their ex, and then they make them choose after dating their ex for that one time. I guess. That seems messed up, but okay. Is there still a chance that my early season prediction that everybody ends up back with their ex, is that possible?
No.
I would say there's a non-zero chance, but still very low.
No. Tae's not going back to Jiyeon.
Tae's not going back to Jiyeon.
And Jisoo is not going back with Wonbin.
Jisoo not going back with Wonbin. That seems like the one that would break that. Yeah, that's the least likely to happen, I think. But all right, no real way to enforce that people are telling the truth. But
yeah,
people are going to tell the truth regardless. So the show intimidated them enough that they told the truth. Let's go. Okay, so this ends up being actually good. Because people actually do tell the truth.
Yeah.
They kind of, some people might get a little bit scammed out of skipping a question and then basically being asked the same question, but in a different way.
Yes.
But what are you going to do?
But they also get to choose like how much they talk when they answer this question.
Yep.
People just keep going. And I'm like, you should have stopped talking a while ago.
Especially one person.
Yeah, one person in particular who really messed things up, I gotta say.
Well, they're being honest. I appreciate it. We got to see the truth. This is what it's all about. All right.
I guess so. Okay.
Naeun is going to ask Haeyeon a question.
What do you think of Hyungyu?
Lame, but I guess not useless.
Yeah, this is where she's like, yeah, he didn't really seem my type at first because I don't really like handsome guys. This is where Gyumin's like, oh shit. But she says she's growing to like him more as they go on more dates.
Yeah.
So there we go.
I feel like she also hesitated on this question as if she was like considering using her skip on this question, which is the move that Hedo is going to do. And skipping on a question like this, not going to be good if you want to not say some things later.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, something that Haeyeon says also in this is like, but as we continue to go on dates, she's talking about Hyungyu still, I'm growing to like him more.
Yeah.
Like, to me, this is an indication, and this is, I guess, what I was trying to say in the last episode, is like her doing the PDAs with Hyungyu in the last episode were like not an accurate reflection of her true feelings for Hyungyu, right? Because I guess we don't like really know Haeyeon fully, but like it just doesn't seem like something that people do on these shows when they are like, I'm starting to like this person, you know?
No, I think like she wasn't like thinking very consciously about it because she had been drinking, and like her natural reaction was to touch him a bit, grab his hand or whatever, and so it was like an instinctual, she's like, it's not like she liked him enough where she would have done that if she had been making a conscious decision about it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But she does like him enough where she touched him rather than not, like it is saying something. It's just not as intense as if she had consciously chosen to hold his hand in public.
I feel like that's what I was just trying to illustrate in the entire last episode, was just like, this is not a reflection of her like sober mind. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
But it's still a reflection of some amount of feelings that are growing.
Yeah.
Because she hasn't grabbed anybody else's hand this whole time.
Yeah, okay. All right, yeah. All right. Jisoo asked Hedo a question.
I'm curious how you feel about Naeun. And he refuses to answer.
He really thinks about it and then is like, if I refuse to answer this question, you can't ask the question again, right? And they're like, yeah, I guess we can't. And he's like, I refuse to answer this question. I wrote, what are you doing, bro? It's such a vague question that it has to be a waste to dodge this one. Like, there's
Well,
gonna
no,
be a
because
harder question.
if he says that he wants to get back together with Nyan, then he can't, that ruins his backup.
That's
with
not what the
Jiyeon.
question was, though. The question was, I'm curious how you feel about Nyan. He could have just like listed a bunch of things he likes about her. But also, though,
Yeah.
this is what I think it is. Hidu probably actually cannot articulate into words how he feels about Nyan.
That's fair.
I literally think he can't. So like, he literally couldn't answer the question.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because there's definitely a way to answer this where you don't have to answer this question like, yeah, I'm picking Nyan in the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
that's probably the only thing he could say, because he couldn't like give her a bunch of compliments.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to talk about the things he doesn't like about her. Although he could have taken that route. That route wouldn't have been that surprising.
Yeah.
I feel like she's clumsy.
She's messy. She's always knocking shit over.
Yeah.
I gotta pick up after her.
All right.
Yeah.
Hidu asked Haeyeon a question. Haeyeon's gonna get asked a lot of questions, by the way.
Oh yeah. How do you currently feel about Gyumin?
Get her, Hidu. Let's go, Hidu. Get her. She really hesitates to answer this one.
Oh yeah.
But she's smart enough to realize that maybe I should answer this question. She says, honestly, my heart has been fluttering since Hyungyu got here, and we've been going on a lot of good dates. But to me, Gyumin is like a big shadow. We did go out for a long time, so feeling giddy over Hyungyu makes me think if it's okay for me to be like this. I feel very confused. I'm standing at a crossroads. I'm still very confused. I think she continues though. She says a lot of words.
Yeah. She can't shut up.
Yeah. If I didn't have my ex, then things definitely would have gone well with Hyungyu. But my ex is here, and he was such a big person in my life, so I feel a bit confused. I think I'm really half and half. I wrote, I'll give credit to Haeyeon for actually being clear and honest about how she feels.
Yeah.
I like that we're getting to see it. But like, what is she 50-50 about? Gyumin is not an option.
Yeah, that is what drives me absolutely crazy about all of her answers to all of these questions.
Yes.
It's like, you're not at a crossroads. I mean, I guess she is. The crossroads are move on or be sad forever. But like, Gyumin is not anything she's going to be able to pick and have.
I'm looking at it from Hyungyu's perspective, and she's going to answer like his question specifically later. That is basically the same vibe though. But it's like, from Hyungyu's perspective, Han is choosing between him and not being with him.
Yeah.
That's what she's 50-50 on.
Yeah.
Because Gyumin is not an option.
Yeah.
And we're going to turn out it's not so 50-50. Right. Jiyeon asked Hidu a question. I don't know. Sarah, do you want to talk about this one? I didn't really care about this one.
Yeah, also she asked it in a weird way.
Yeah, she asked it in a weird way, and then Hidu just answers it like Hidu answers questions.
Yeah.
We're good. All right. Gyumin asked Hidu a question. Why? I wrote, can we stop asking Hidu questions? 3 questions for Hidu in the first 5 questions. Come on.
Yeah. You've gone on lots of dates so far. Which one did you think was the best?
And then I was like, oh, that's a good question, actually.
But then he answers it like, there was a date where I went on a barge, and that was fun.
And I was like, what?
It was very singular. He's like, I was on a barge by myself. We don't have to talk about who I was with.
I was like, what date is he even talking about? But then
the water.
Is that what it was? It was the water activities date? Okay. That's what I assumed it must be, because then they pushed him to say who it was, and then he's already used his pass. So he admits that it was Jiyeon, but then he follows it up by saying, I normally like going to barges, so it was fun to like really try to minimize the Jiyeon being on the date being the fun part.
Had absolutely nothing to do with this date. It was just me and that boat.
Don't get me wrong, like, me and the barge had a way better date than me and Jiyeon did. I would pick that barge over any of you.
I mean, me too, Hidu. I would pick the barge over any of them.
Okay. Even Wanbin. You're out on Wanbin too.
Maybe. I don't know.
Even Tei.
Yeah, Tei's all right. Okay, fine. But he's a smoker. I can't.
Okay.
So,
All right.
you
Yeah.
know, there we
you
go.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even
I don't think it's going to work.
And none of the women working for you at this point, Sarah?
No.
All right.
No, none. I mean,
I respect it. I think I agree.
Jisoo's all right. Wait. Maybe. You know, you're right. Jisoo wins out over a Barch.
Jisoo's, yeah, her only real negative was her reaction to the Nayeon stuff and her role in leading that to being a whole thing. But
yeah,
that's the only thing I can really think of negatively about Jisoo. All right. Nayeon asks Gyumin a question.
You and I both felt that we were sorting things out. Was that because of me or you?
Yeah. Basically, she wants to know why Gyumin has drifted like away from her.
Yeah. Despite all the very obvious reasons why he would do that.
He basically says like, I drifted away from you because about how you feel about Hidu, not about how I feel about any of the other girls. So he was basically like, it's not me, it's you.
Yes. Which is fair and accurate.
Yes. I liked it. I liked that one. I enjoyed a lot of the slams that are happening throughout this whole Truth and Dare.
Oh, yeah. And then, like, Tae pipes in, he's like, this is fun to watch, but you guys need to ask tougher questions. And he's like, I could make all of you use your skips immediately. And so then he asks Nayeon, who do you want to end up with?
Nayeon's like, do me. It reminds me, you know that scene in Guardians of the Galaxy with Drax?
Oh, yeah.
And like Mantis is like using her emotional powers on Quill to like read his mind, and then she's like revealing that he's in love with Gamora to everybody in the room, and then Drax is like laughing in his face, being like, she just revealed your deepest, darkest secret. Do me next. That's how this felt. Like, Nayeon's like,
yeah.
Nayeon's like, oh, you think you can make me skip? Do me. And then she's like, who do you want to end up with? I will skip that question instantly.
It's pretty good.
Instantly skips the question. Skip. All right. Well, Nayeon's down to skip. Jian asks Hyungyu.
Tell us 3 things you love about Haeun the most.
All right, I was curious about this one because I've been on like similarly to how like I like Gyumin couldn't really give a good reason why he likes Nayeon. I couldn't tell you why Hyungyu likes Haeun, so I was really curious what he was going to say.
Well, he says she's bright, thoughtful, and pretty.
Okay, bro.
Well, there you go. I mean, for knowing her for like 4 days, sure, that makes sense.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I'll say, like, she's pretty. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's bright. I really don't know. I don't know her intelligence level. But
I don't think he means it in terms of that.
Oh, you think it's like bubbly bright?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's just whatever then.
That feels like false because she is always crying.
I think she is when she is, but she's really not when she's not.
Yeah.
But I will say she's definitely not thoughtful. I don't think there's any evidence that points to that she is thoughtful.
She is in her head a lot, overthinking things, and that's a kind of thoughtfulness, I guess.
That she's thoughtful about making the women not want to date Gyumin, even though she doesn't want the women to date Gyumin. So it's like simultaneously thoughtful, even though it's not thoughtful. Actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, though, I just feel like he's saying the things he would like his girlfriend to be, and not actually saying what Haeun is.
Okay.
I think Hyungyu is very immature, I'll say, when it comes to dating. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I will go back to, like, he's known her for 4 days. Like, this is the amount of shit you should say about somebody you've known for 4 days. Like, he doesn't know her well enough to be like, oh, I love her perseverance and, or, you know, whatever real shit you actually get into. Like, 4 days. It's not, there's not much between them, you know, yet.
I don't know. Yeah. But, Haeun's confessional after this, though, is actually, she is like most happy that he thinks she was pretty.
Yeah, that's That's sure something.
I wrote as if the other things might not be true.
Or she just does not give a shit about the other things.
Yeah, because they're not really true. So I'll stick with the one that I appreciate the most, which is that I'm pretty. She doesn't put a lot of weight in being thoughtful because she isn't really that thoughtful.
Yeah.
All right. Heian asks Guman.
You knew that Nyan and I were really close. You know that we're friends. Even when you knew I could see you, you didn't try to hide your feelings for Nyan at all. I'm curious as to what you were thinking. Did you not think of me at all? Were you just acting as you wanted? And at this point, I'm like, oh no, this is just what the rest of this episode is gonna be, is her using this as an excuse to like make him answer all the things she said to him in their previous little like fights or
that
whatever.
He like wouldn't answer.
Where he wouldn't answer.
Pretty much.
And I was like, abort, this is terrible. This is not
No, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. This question is terrible though. Because the real question that she needs to ask is, why did you invite me to be on this fucking TV show? That's the question.
Yes.
That is the question. Yeah, then Guman kind of gaslights her a little bit and acts like he was being careful with Heian's feelings. But, like, we know this is a lie, right? Like, he definitely said in confessional, like, yeah, I've been trying to, like, show her that I'm definitely hanging out and enjoying time with the other girls. So,
yeah.
Maybe in his head, he thinks he's considering her feelings, and by considering them and making sure she
feels as bad as possible.
Feels bad about her, like, make sure she feels bad. That is being considered, but yeah.
He does end it with, but I don't think we actually need to be that careful.
Yeah, so why are you gaslighting, bro? Just say that.
Because he is still trying to appear as a likable person. That is why.
All right.
At this point, Tae says he wants to go home, and I'm like, me too, bro. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, because like it's actually uncomfortable to watch Heian ask human questions for them. I'm here for it. I mean, I thought this was probably the best segment on the show. So this is what I've been pretty much wanting them all to do the whole time, right? Just like say how they actually feel, be able to talk to their exes, date their exes, but ideally it wouldn't happen right before the final decision. But all right.
But yeah, Tae says he wants to go home, but then immediately launches into asking Heian a bunch of questions. Just to like make it worse.
There was like I feel like there's a bunch of questions. I just wrote down like whatever Heian gets asked, Heian admits that it would have been a difficult choice yesterday if she had been able to choose Guman for the date. Yeah. So that gets out in the open.
But he does ask her who her top choice is right this second.
Yeah. Who would she pick right now if the show was ending like right now? She
does say that it was Hyungyu wins by a little right now.
Yeah, after thinking about it a long time.
Yeah.
And this is where I actually wrote down like, if you're Hyungyu, this should be extremely offensive. Like,
yeah. There is nothing about how this night goes that should not lead him to like just pulling the I can't think of what I was gonna say. Just exiting the situation. Yeah, the ripcord. Just like evacuating immediately. Like, this is not a place this is not a relationship you want to start.
Yeah. She is struggling between choosing Hyungyu and nothing. Hyungyu is barely winning against nothing.
Yep.
Which is
which, you know, to be fair,
real relationships are, but not.
Yeah. And I always advocate for choosing yourself, but her choosing not Hyungyu is not really her choosing herself. It's not her leaving alone. I mean, it is her leaving alone, but in her brain, it's still choosing Guman somehow. Even though he's not going to choose her back, it's her deciding to just hold on to all of her feelings about him and be sad forever.
Yeah. But I'm really looking from Hyungyu's perspective, and like from Hyungyu's perspective, like Heian is like behaving as if they are like boyfriend and girlfriend. Like it's going from Hyungyu's perspective, this is going really well. And that's why like her doing things that aren't a true reflection of her actual feelings is messed up to me. Like it's hurting Hyungyu ultimately. Yeah. Now Hyungyu is a fairly emotionally sound person, and he's going to handle all this very well. But I don't think that excuses the fact
Yeah, yeah.
of what Hayan is doing just because Hyungyu is able to handle it. Yeah. At this point, though, in the confessional that we see, Hyungyu says that he is happy with his answer, though. So he's not.
Yeah.
If I mean, these confessionals are definitely done after the fact and not in between these questions, but somehow it makes it seem like he is not seeing the red flags yet, but the game's not over. Tae is gonna ask Na'un who she picked for the date yesterday.
And she's like, wait, you don't know? It was Gyumin. And this is when he's just like, what the fuck? Why would you pick him?
I guess I'm being a little hypocritical by being like, why the hell would you pick Gyumin? Like, I get that, but then when people are upset that people are picking Jisoo, I'm like, that's kind of fucked up.
Well, that's because you like Jisoo more than you like Gyumin.
It definitely is, but we've just seen so much from Gyumin and his inability to articulate why he even likes the girl he likes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did articulate it perfectly.
It's
but
because she's hot.
It's not a real reason or like a good reason.
I mean, it's a real reason.
He was being honest. I mean, I don't really know why Jisoo likes anybody either, so it's like not really fair, but the show hasn't made me hate Jisoo as much as I hate Gyumin, I guess is what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what
it is.
All
right. Na'un is taken aback when she hears about the Nayeon hugging Tae. She finds out about this for the first time.
Oh, yeah. We do find out that Tae does not even remember this event.
Yeah. That's how insignificant it was. Tae doesn't even remember a woman hugging him.
Yeah.
In a country where it's a huge deal when somebody hugs you. That's how insignificant it was. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Na'un says in confessional about this, though, they really had just met. When I heard that she hugged him, I was surprised. Can you hug someone that easily? So yeah, I think her concern, in quotes, for Hayan was more than just Hayan's health and being drunk.
Yeah.
Like this, she unless maybe she's not equating the two situations like she should be, but I don't know.
Yeah, she might not be,
because the way Hayan touched her ex-boyfriend was far more significant. And what now, to be fair to Na'un, she did not get to witness this, so she might be thinking the worst of it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
In fact, she might even be thinking it was like similar to what Hayan and Hyungyu were doing, since that's the other comparable thing that's happened on the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Na'un is like super comfortable with PDAs, like we maybe suggested in the last episode. All right. Na'un's gonna ask Tae a question.
Do you think you might change your mind if you go on a final date with someone else?
No. Instantly says no.
But like the rest of his answer to me sounded like a mess of I don't know why.
He confused me with the rest of
because he's like saying that before she showed up, he didn't have anybody he wanted to text at all. And it felt really insincere to him. And I thought he was going to follow this up with, and then you showed up and everything changed. But no, he's just like on and on about like how words are important and he doesn't take things lightly. But when she showed up, then he realized he didn't have to take things too seriously. And I'm like, that's the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Take this argument if you're trying to convince her that you like her. I don't know. But it seemed to work for her. She seemed comforted by this answer.
Maybe it was just, I don't know if it was the translation's fault or what, but it did seem backwards. I actually didn't write it down because I was confused. But it did seem like he was saying like, I put a lot of thought into my text when nobody was dating me because I felt like I needed to. But then you showed up and I thought we were cool. So I just wrote down, I guess he's saying like, I just wrote whatever came to me and I didn't really think about it, which like, considering what he put in the text is pretty meaningful. Like if he didn't really think about that, he just said it.
Or maybe it's like it was just easier to write a text because like he was having sincere feelings and that was not stressful. I don't
know. It feels like whatever he said, he must have talked to Na'un about it more later. And then by the time Na'un did the confessional, she was like, oh, I get it. And I understand his words now. And maybe Na'un finally realizes
That he likes her.
Tay like actually likes her, which we'll see what excuse she can come up with next to get out of this one. But
yeah.
one of them just pick each other, and then it won't go anywhere after the show. But we'll see. All right. Jisoo tells the group that her I don't know who asked this question, but her favorite
Gyumin
time.
asked her.
Okay, her favorite time on the show was when Gyumin brought the chocolates back to the house.
Oh, and everybody is like shook that this chocolate was for Jisoo.
Everyone's like, "What? That was for you?" Like, I ate so much of that chocolate, I didn't realize it was for you. Like, that chocolate being for you, Jisoo, never crossed my mind. Like, I wouldn't have thought anybody would ever give you chocolates.
To be fair, Tae is also shocked and feels bad about eating so much of that chocolate, and I don't think any of that is in a negative for by Jisoo chocolate. He was just like, fuck, I thought that was group chocolate. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but also there's some level of tone from some people, I think.
Yeah.
And then everybody uses the term player to describe Gyumin.
Oh, yeah.
After this, which I thought was weird, especially because I don't think Gyumin actually ever admits that the chocolates were for Jisoo. At least to them.
Yeah. Because he does say some things like, well, yeah, I'm happy everybody enjoyed the chocolate. Like, he doesn't...
You were supposed to eat the chocolate, don't worry. But doesn't say, like, yeah, I got it because of Jisoo. Like, she said she liked chocolates, but I got enough so that everybody could have some. It's kind of like, I feel like that's what he actually did. But we didn't get to see him be like, yep, I did do that because of Jisoo or anything like that. I'm not sure if he might have said that back in the episode that it happened, though. So maybe I'm forgetting if he actually did that. Yeah. Jisoo wants to know, and she's gonna ask Gyumin, like, if she was more upfront with Gyumin, would it have changed things for him?
And he says he thinks so.
I think that could have happened. There is a small chance. Now, I thought this was like a good answer for Jisoo to hear.
Yeah. I don't know that I believe it, though.
Oh, really? Yeah, it is a little bit of like, there's a 1% chance that is a possibility. It's kind of like how he could be saying it.
I don't know that she wasn't as upfront as anybody else ever is on these shows, right? Like, she texted him, she picked him for dates or whatever, like, because she got to pick a date after the whole guy who disappeared thing, and she got shafted out of a date, and she picked Gyumin, right? Like, I think that's what happened.
Yeah, that sounds right. You might, yeah.
But
at that point, she was like 2 dates behind Nayeon or something, right?
Yeah. Which is why I think like she did what she could. I don't know that she would have changed things like that. Maybe if she had been there once Nayeon started like clearly going back to Hidu, maybe that would have gone differently.
I feel like there was a point in time where like Gyumin had a choice. Like he may have dated them. Yeah, I think he dated them both on the same day.
Yeah.
That was like the rock climbing date, and then whatever he did with Nayeon.
And then he texted Nayeon that night.
Yeah.
And that's when Jisoo was done with him for a while.
Yeah. But I think what she's saying is like, maybe if she had written a more definitive text, and especially at that time, like I think the text might have been still anonymous. I'm not sure. Like made a text that was like more clear it was her.
That's fair. Everybody does suck at writing text on this show.
I don't know. I thought it was a good answer, but then Jisoo, based on her confessional, is like kind of acting like she doesn't have a chance with Gyumin. Mm-hmm. So maybe she's reading it right, and I was not reading it right. So yeah, I think you're right. So I'm not expecting a miracle to happen for this last second match that I would actually not mind. But
yeah.
So I don't know what's gonna happen at this point. Also, every time Gyumin is asked a question, Hyungyu is like leaning forward so that he can see Haeun's face.
Yep.
Haeun is going to interpret it as, oh, he's just checking to see if I'm crying.
Yeah.
Which could be right, but also I feel like if I was Hyungyu, I'd be like, yeah, I need to see your facial reactions to these questions. Like, this is very crucial to how I move forward. All right. Here we go. Hyungyu asked Haeun question.
How do you think you'd feel if Gyumin were to like you again starting today?
Get her. Let's go. Absolute best question he could have asked. This is so good.
Yep. But then she's like, well, nothing like that's going to happen. Like, this is not even a hypothetical worth addressing.
She acknowledges it that it's not going to happen, yeah. So that's
But then
good.
she gets pressed, like, oh, but if it does, and then she skips.
Huge hesitation, and then she decides to skip this question.
Yep. Can't feel good as Youngyu at this point.
Yeah, the answer is she would choose Guman.
Yeah,
And
100%.
then after I wrote that, it went to her in a confessional, and she was like, "Yeah, I didn't want to answer that honestly because I didn't want to hurt Hyungyu's feelings."
Yeah, but like by skipping, you are saying the exact same thing, so you're fooling nobody. Like,
she might be feeling Hyungyu.
Really?
He doesn't seem like the brightest guy so far, but yeah, I think he's figuring it out. But if anybody would be fooled by this, maybe Hyungyu. All right, then Wanbin. He hasn't done anything. He's gonna pile on and ask Haeyeon a question.
You were always asked to go on dates. If you could choose someone, including human, if you only had one chance, who would you choose?
Yeah, basically the same question, right? Actually,
yeah.
not really. Actually, no, it's actually not the same question. It's just like if there was only one date left for the rest of the show, who would you choose? I think is kind of what this is.
And she just says like one chance over and over and over again while she's trying to load an answer.
She thinks so hard about this, and then she just turns into a broken record. She's like out loud, one chance, one chance, one chance, one chance, one chance.
Yep.
Then she says, "I want to go on a date with Guman, even though I know how he feels." And then she like tries to
repeats herself.
She tries to do the thing where she acts like this is what she said in confessionals a bunch of times, like, we haven't had the chance to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And she really feels like if she could force him to spend the entire day with him, it might change something.
Yeah, she says, I think a date with him would help me make up my mind the most. I'm like, there's nothing to make up your mind between. Like, he is not gonna get back together with you. You know this. Just move on.
I need to spend time with Guman to make up my mind. Yeah, what is she talking about? There's no choice to be made.
There's no choice to be made, and she's had many chances to talk to him, and he does not want to talk to her. He has shown her that he is not interested and is probably a piece of shit, and she should move on.
Hyungyu, just run as far away from this girl as possible.
Yep. Maybe reconsider Chi-young. Like, let's just roll that back and go on a date with her.
Or not. I don't know what's going on between those two. All right. I will say though, as stupid as this sounds, the show is gonna force Guman to go on an all-day date with Haeyeon in the next episode.
Yep.
Guman's confessionals. Now he's done this the whole season, and I don't know if this is him helping out production or if this is real or what it is. But the whole season, he's like, "I'm scared to go on a date with Haeyeon because I'm worried I might start liking her again." And I
really don't think it's gonna happen.
They show a small part of their date in the previews, and it looks like it's going okay.
I don't believe it.
I am
the
just
previews lie.
As horrible, and if Hidu and Nayeon can be a thing, why can't Haeyeon and Guman be a thing? That's all I'm saying.
They all can be things, but they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't. But you know what? There's still a chance that that's where the show's going. I am not. I would not bet my life savings on them not choosing each other at the end. That's all I'm
saying. Okay.
All right. Haeyeon wants to know how Guman felt when he knew she was crying about him. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Let's move on. Hyungyu asks Haeyeon if he wants to get back with Guman.
I feel like we know the answer to this question.
Now, this is the same question, but it asked in a different way. So now Haeyeon feels like she can't skip. She basically admits that she does want to get back with Guman.
Yeah. She says, he meant a lot to me. I haven't decided yet. Again, there's no decision to make. He will not take her back. But I still have a desire to. I do, because he meant a lot to me.
Feels good to be right, Sarah. I know you were just being optimistic, so you didn't actually think she wasn't.
No. I'm still going to say that
this
date...
God.
No, listen. This date that they have together the next day is going to go so poorly.
Nope.
I know that...
You're crazy.
It's going to go...
You're
so
nuts.
poorly.
You're
at the
bordering
end.
on insane, Sarah.
No, she's gonna pick the new guy. Like, it's gonna work out because it can't end like this. Like, what was the season of this show if the only couples we end up with are Hidu and Nayeon and Haeun and Mingyu? Like, it's just not argument. It's not gonna.
No, they're
No,
not.
I cannot.
I don't think Guman's gonna choose her. I don't necessarily think they're gonna match, but I don't believe by the end of the show, Haeun is gonna be over Guman.
Okay. Oh yeah, well, yeah. Oh, okay. There is a difference between her not being over him and her picking this other guy. Like, that's not, those two things can exist at the same time, which is what I think will happen. She will not be completely over Guman, but she's gonna pick this other guy because at a certain point you can only handle so much rejection, right? Right? Like, she's got to reach a threshold where she's like, okay, if I pick him, it's just gonna hurt again. Maybe I should stop doing this to myself.
The dream scenario is Haeun realizes Guman isn't going to pick her, even though she really wants to pick him. Decides to pick Hyungyu, and Hyungyu picks someone else. That's the dream scenario.
No!
Like, Hyungyu just picks Naeun or something. There's also a non-zero chance that Hyungyu and Naeun end up back together by the end of this.
Really? I've gotten no vibes in that direction. I don't know. They just seem fine.
The only vibes that I get is Naeun doesn't seem super pumped about Guman or Tae, which is why she was struggling between them.
Mm-hmm.
But she did say at one point, I believe, was it in the sauna? She was like, "Oh yeah, Hyungyu is the most handsome guy here." I think she said that in a confessional early on too.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
yeah.
my ex is the best. Now she's been really cool about supporting him and who he wants to date, which can only help her ultimately once he realizes the person he wanted, the person that he wanted to date is like a psychopath. Like he'll be like, "Wow, you were really cool about that." Like that could only work in her favor. So
that's true.
It's not. There's definitely again not a 0% chance that this is how another ex couple might get back together.
I just don't like. They haven't shown me anything. Like they're good as a like supporting exes. Like their interactions are nice.
The show but would have shown they haven't. More.
Yeah, I don't see any like. I don't see anything pointing in that direction. Like any of their interactions. Like there was that one time in confessional, she absolutely broke out crying. But I don't think there's anything between them at this point.
There's no narrative for it, but they've both been on the show for such a short period of time, and unless they were talking about it in confessional, there wasn't really anything for them to show, it seems. Because they weren't allowed to like date each other or even pick each other.
Yeah, but they did have that time when like she had to pick a date for him, and she was just like, "Yeah, I'll give you whatever you want." I don't really care.
Yeah, but that's how like, any normal person should do it, regardless of how they feel about the other person.
I know, but it's like a moment that they had alone to talk. And like, if it had been 3 days after Haeun got on the show and she had a minute to talk to Guman alone, she would have brought up a bunch of shit about all of her feelings. And none of that came out in this time where they were alone and got to talk. It was just very much like, oh, you like her? Okay, sure.
I agree. Like, the narrative is Naeun's going to pick Tae. That's definitely the narrative. But they both could have had the approach of like, all right, we're gonna date other people when we come on the show, and that's our plan. And then Hyungyu dates a psychopath and realizes he should move off her at the very end, and is now like, what am I gonna do? And Naeun dates two guys that she's not thrilled about, either one of them, and they're forced to have a date right before the final decision. And who knows how it could go. So that's all I'm saying.
I just feel like all these shows at the end, they should give you the option to pick no one. You know, like everybody's forced to pick somebody, but like
this show might do that. We don't know. Probably not.
Well, I hope it does. Like, give everybody the self-respecting choice of just like, this didn't work out. I don't need to fake it.
Yeah, if a show ever needed that mechanic, it's this one.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Seems like Hyungyu might finally realize that he can't make her. He can't make Haeun like him more than she likes Guman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet he's still being chill about it.
Yeah. He's not crying in confessional or giving us a ton of emotion, but I'm sure he's feeling it to some degree.
He's not like, I'm at it. Like, this is not going to work out. Obviously, pivot. You know, he is just like, I'm just going to keep going forward with the plan.
Oh, maybe, yeah. But wait till the X dates to the next episode. All right. Haeun asks a weird question to Guman that I didn't really know how to interpret. Did you were able to explain this at all? Human is just like, I could have changed, which is like his last ditch effort to be like, I don't know exactly what Han asked, but Human basically gives her the sentiment like in a very cryptic, minimal wordage as possible, but he's basically trying to be like, look, I have feelings for you. Like, we dated for a long time. I have feelings for you, but I do not want to date you anymore. Is basically,
yeah, I mean, she basically asked, like, from the beginning of the show till now, has there been any change in your heart? And he says it could have changed. And I'm like, that is a vague and unhelpful answer.
Yeah, but also, like,
but I also
she just keeps asking questions. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah. I also wrote right before this, oh my fucking god, just stop and stop asking him questions. Please let it end.
Yeah, and if he has feelings for her and doesn't want to date her, that's perfectly fair.
Yep. She just needs to stop with the intense, ridiculous behavior and move on.
Still shouldn't have invited her on the show. I'm not going to let him off the hook.
But at this point, I feel like her ridiculous behavior has stacked up to be worse than that, I think.
I agree. That's where I was last episode. You're with me now, I think.
No, I've been with you on that front. Okay. I just really want her to get her shit together.
Okay. You're rooting for her to figure it out. I'm over it. I don't care if she figures it out. All right.
Like, I have never behaved in this way, but I have been the person who's been hung up on someone before. And it took a moment of, like, a connection with someone else for me to really, like, think, oh, yeah, there are other people in the world. I can move on.
Okay.
And so I'm hoping that this just triggers that for her and she gets better.
Okay. I didn't realize this was like a personal
a little bit
interpretation of.
Again, I have never behaved in this manner.
Yeah, I get that. But you see how she could change with just a little bit of a spark with somebody else. Okay. I get you.
Sometimes that's what it takes.
I'm not buying it, but I see why. I see why your personal experience might have led you to buy it. All right, that's all I have for the Truth or Dare game.
Yep.
Actually, a good segment. So many people got dunked on in this segment, and it was amazing.
I did enjoy the dunking. It was good.
All right, that was good. That's what I'm here for at this point. All right, we gotta text people at the end of the night here.
Is it just me, or did we not get all the texts? Like, we did not see who Haeun texted, and we did not see who Nayeon texted.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, yeah. The two people. Okay, so what they did is the two people, which are Han and Heedu.
Mm-hmm.
They're the two people that are probably, you actually don't know who they're going to text. Haeun's either going to be.
Oh, right. It was Heedu, not
Hyungyu. Yeah. Han will text Heedu. Sorry. Haeun will text Hyungyu or Gyumin. Heedu will text Ji-young or Na-young. And the show just decided not to show us because I guess we're getting too close to the end and they don't want to spoil the end of the show.
Yeah. But we can go through everybody else's texts.
It makes me think. It makes me think that Haeun texted Gyumin.
Really?
I don't know. No matter who Haeun texted, I would not be convinced on who she was going to be picked for the end of the show. So I don't really know who they're texting. I do think they've already been pretty obvious about who Heedu's going to pick, and now they've decided, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like a weird time to try and
out of all the
hide that, given that he did not successfully go on a date with Ji-young, and they just were weird at each other. But okay.
Yeah. All right, let's do the text we did get, though. Jisoo gets one text.
It was fun today, though I got sick. Thank you for taking care of me. Take care, from Gyumin.
All right. Okay, maybe this will happen at the end of the show, even though Jisoo doesn't seem like it will. That's what I wrote. I think there's a chance.
I don't think so.
Well, who's gonna? You don't think he's gonna pick Haeun, right? So who's he gonna pick?
No.
If he has to pick somebody, who's he gonna pick?
Yeah, you're right. Maybe we'll pick Jisoo.
Who's Jisoo?
Okay, but it's not gonna be a thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
they're gonna pick each other, even though it's like not a thing. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
I feel like Jisoo might just not pick him because it's not gonna be a thing.
That's possible.
You know? Like, I could see her not wanting to leave the show in that way, and so she'll just like
she picks like Hyungyu.
She'll do a throwaway Heedu or Hyungyu or Tae pick or something, you know? Like,
yeah, Hyungyu is probably the least risky if you're trying not to match, for her at least.
I think there's literally no risk for her picking anybody outside of Gyumin or Wonbin. Like,
I don't know. Can't predict this Heedu guy sometimes.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Human gets one text.
Thank you for taking care of me since the first day. I hope you're happy.
All right, he's
From
still
Jisoo.
texting. He's still texting Jisoo. Let's go. Okay.
Okay.
Jisoo gets a second text.
I'll root for you. This is from Wanbin.
Yeah, I was like second text, and I was like, oh yeah, Wanbin exists on the show. I forgot.
Did anybody ask Wanbin a single question? No, they did not. That we saw anyway.
Well, he did get to put Haeyeon on the spot though, so I appreciate that.
That's true.
A lot of people did, but he got in on some of that action.
Yeah.
Tae gets one text.
You know the power of words. I like you for that. It's from Nayeon.
Yeah, so she did have some sort of response to what he said about the text strategy. I thought it was
whatever nonsense he said, it made sense to her. So there we go.
Tae gets a second text.
Well done on getting all the way here. You deserve to be loved.
Again, I forgot. I forgot that like people's exes might just randomly text them that everything going on. So I was like, "Whoa, Tae got a second one." Oh yeah, Jiyeon. Yeah, not texting Hedo, despite theoretically getting back on the same page with him after they didn't match up on the date. I think she's picked up on maybe stay away from this Hedo guy. And she says like, yeah, I think Hido's decision is obvious at this point.
Yeah.
So she's feeling the same way we are. Naeun gets one text.
Let's go grocery shopping together tomorrow.
Oh, will we actually get a grocery shopping date?
No, because tomorrow they're going on X dates.
Nope, we're never going to get this grocery shopping date.
Nope, not happening.
The exes will be going on dates. Unlucky, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Hedo gets one text.
Do you think our relationship is solid? I was jealous after our conversation today, but I became certain. Let's go on a date tomorrow. Did you mean what you said? That mess of nonsense is obviously from Nayeon.
This text is all over the place.
Yeah, I don't even I guess they must have had some sort of conversation today. They didn't show it because they were not on a date or whatever.
No, they had some we didn't talk about it on the podcast, but they had some back and forth of like, well, Hedo was really what they had
I thought that was the day before.
They had a lot of dumb shit where like Hedo was drunk and he got the letter and then he got like he had behaved like a toddler because like Hyungyu he grabbed it out of his hand after Hedo grabbed it out of his hand, and then he was like complaining to Nayeon about Hyungyu because
I guess they did talk about that during the day this day. Yeah,
like a child telling on like their younger brother, or I don't know, like Nayeon is his mom or something.
Yeah.
I was jealous after our conversation today, but I became certain. Is this the same logic that Haeyeon's using, where it's like, yeah, I got jealous, and then I realized, oh, yeah, I must really like you because I got jealous. Okay.
I mean, 100%. She's been saying that since he showed up. Like, she was fine, and then she saw him dating Jiyeon and got jealous, and that's the entire thing. This whole get back together nonsense is based on.
These two are just meant for each other. You just have to. Ugh. You just have to root for it at this point, Sarah.
No. Get away from each other. Get in some therapy.
Just
be better people.
Be together and make sure no one else has to deal with you the rest of their lives.
Or they could both take a step away from each other, get some therapy, and become better people.
Yeah, but they should do that therapy together. Just them two together, working on it together. If they get better, they get better. But just like should really just contain themselves to themselves, I think.
I mean, they could work on getting themselves better separately and also not dating new people until they work on themselves is my ideal situation.
Yeah, that ain't
I know
happening.
it's not going to happen.
So Nayeon is all in on Hedo. If Hedo says he's into.
Yes.
So the ball is in Hedo's court. He just has to say yes, and this is happening. Oh, we're so close, Sarah. Here we go.
Ugh, I hate it.
Haeyeon gets one text.
Today was still perfect. Thank you. It's from Hyungyu.
I thought this was Hyungyu being just like so cool about everything. But then Haeyeon is gonna be like, I noticed the word still.
And then he's also like, yeah, that's my little complaint.
I was like, still I haven't complained about her once, even though there's a lot to complain about. So I just put the word still in that sentence I sent her just to show her I'm a little bit upset.
Which, I mean, fair, you know?
I mean, he should have just not texted her. That's what I wanted to happen.
Yeah, I guess he should have text Nyan and been like, "What did you get me into bringing me on this show? Oh my
You
god."
should have texted Gian and been like, "You were right. I should have gone on a date with you yesterday.
That would have been great.
Sorry for gaslighting you. I actually lied to you. Please forgive me. Don't make me go on a date with Han tomorrow." He's actually not gonna have to go on a date with Han tomorrow.
It's true.
Not with Ji Young either.
Because, yeah, last thing that happens, get a new letter that says you're going on a date with your ex tomorrow.
On a date with your ex tomorrow. Okay. Now the show is going to force the exes to date each other.
Yes.
This show is so dumb, Sarah. So dumb.
Okay.
How many, let me ask this question. I'm being 100% serious.
Okay.
How many of these dates will we be skipping in the next episode?
Well, okay, Wanbin and Jisoo is not going to be a good time.
Let's just assume we're skipping all of them. Which ones are we talking about? Maybe.
I mean, we're 100% talking about whatever shit happens between Haeun and Gyumin. Like, come on, like it maybe not in depth, but it will be like he was a shithead or he acted like a human. Like,
yeah, I mean, a lot. I'll be honest, a lot could happen on these dates that impacts the final decision because, like, they're making the exes date the day before the final decision. So we'll talk about anything that actually seems meaningful. If it's the same shit that these exes have been saying to each other for a long ass time, I'll just say, hey, it's playing out the same. I can't do this. I can't believe this is happening.
This is the last stretch. We can get through it. It's okay.
I'm a little actually curious for the Na and Hyungyu date. I'll be honest. I think that's the one I'm most interested in.
I feel like it'll just be a chill time. We're not going to see a lot of it because they're just going to be chill, reasonable humans.
You don't think they're going to talk about their points in the show and how they might feel about each other with respect to the other people they have tried to date on the show?
I mean, I don't think they're going to get together or anything. So I mean, we might get Hyungyu being like, yeah, she's weird or whatever, and totally hung up on her ex, but I'm still going after Haeun. And then we'll get Nayeon going, I didn't think Tae had feelings about me, but he knows how to use words, I guess. And that's about it.
The difference is, like, I don't think Hyungyu is a psychopath. So I have faith that he'll see, because it's basically what it's similar to like Gyumin eventually got there with Nayeon and he just gave up. Now he had a lot more time.
Yeah, it's so much more time. And the difference is Heedoo is definitely gonna choose Nayeon too. Whereas everybody knows that Gyumin is not gonna pick Haeun.
That's true, yeah. But Gyumin did just kind of give up knowing that there wasn't another option. So, like, I feel like there's room for Hyungyu just to give up knowing that there's not another option, but we'll see. All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want Haeun to be there with nobody picking her. Dream
I
scenario.
think Hyungyu's gonna pick her. She's gonna pick him. She's gonna go become a better person.
Oof. I mean, it's only up from here, right? I mean,
yeah.
Could she be worse? I mean,
if
she could go full Heedoo, I guess.
You could always be worse.
Could always be Heedoo.
There's not been a murder yet. Like we're there's lows to head towards that I don't think we're going towards. So okay.
All right. Yeah, so we'll be skipping all the dates in the next episode. That's what
That's gonna be the entire episode. Stay tuned for our shortest podcast ever, I guess.
The entire episode is you talking about dates and me going, can't we just skip this date? I'm done.
And I'll be like, if we skip them all, there's no content to podcast about.
All right, you want to talk about the previews?
Sure, people go on dates and look at various degrees of happiness.
The date activities do look interesting, though. They're like zip lining, and they look like actual activities as opposed to like...
Tae and Jiyoung are like in a dune buggy or something. That's like fun Jeju Island stuff.
Yeah. Maybe the dates will just be fun.
Although Wanbin and Jisoo are just shown sitting, so who knows what their date is.
Yeah, we'll see. God, that one might be... What's a word? What do we want to see?
Okay, the Wanbin Jisoo date is going to be, he's going to force an apology on her, right? It's going to be...
I think she's going to be willing. I think she's going to be ready to hear him, though.
ready to, or just has
willing to.
has given in and realizes that this must happen at some point, and it's gonna happen now. You know, like I don't think she wants to deal with it, but she's like, it's happening. I guess. Okay.
The reason I think Jisoo is going to be maybe less down on it is just because like she'd had kind of like a somewhat redeeming date with Gyumin, so I don't think she's gonna be as like feeling bad about herself.
Okay.
When she's talking to Wonbin. And so she'll be I don't know. I think she'll be in a better attitude. I think we're just gonna get get it, and it's gonna be Wonbin got to say his thing, and they're kind of okay now. It's like the best ending possible for those two.
Yeah, that'll be their date.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to say about the dates that might be coming at us in the next episode?
Okay. So the Taeji on date, they're gonna have fun, and then she's gonna make it weird at the end. Just like with the X room situation, you know.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. Yeah.
Obviously, Hee-do and Nayeon are gonna fight a whole bunch. Human's gonna put on a brave face for most of that date, and by the end, she's just gonna needle at some uncomfortable questions, and then he's not gonna want to answer, and then she's gonna cry.
That adds up.
And then Nayeon and Hyungyu are just gonna be chill humans.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I think the last one is the one that's least likely to go the way you predicted, but we'll see. I don't know.
What, the chill humans? Okay.
Yeah, I think it could be something.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably won't get that crazy, but I'm interested to see that one. Yeah, that's where we're at. Basically, we could just like clip the last 5 minutes of us talking, and that might be the next episode of the podcast.
No, we're gonna.
I'm just saying
talk about it a little bit.
We might elaborate more on the next podcast, but if you want the short version of what the next podcast is going to be, it's going to be the last 5 minutes of this podcast. What we just talked about for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the entire dynamic of next episode. All right. Next time, we'll be talking about Transit Love 2, episode 19. Ooh, 19's right before 20. It's so close.
Yeah, it is.
I can feel it. I'm a little excited, actually. I'm getting excited just because we're almost done with the show. And then I have these list of other shows that we can talk about. Yeah. I'm like motivated. I feel like super motivated to do the podcast so that we can get to the better episodes.
All right.
I do. I feel like there's more intrigue in this show than there was like a few episodes ago. A few episodes ago, it was like nothing but the same
sadness
over and over again. But we're getting to the point where like truth is coming out and decisions actually are going to have to be made sometime soon. So
yeah,
there are things happening on this show now compared to a few episodes ago. So
yeah,
let's see. We'll see how it ends. Anything else you want to say?
That's all I got.
Right. Where can people contact us?
People can email us at keepwatchingpod@gmail.com, tweet at us at keepwatchingpod, Instagram at us at keepwatchingpod, or leave a comment under the YouTube video also at keepwatchingpod. And if you want to go on a grocery date tomorrow with us, then you can leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Yeah, that's a lie. Grocery dates don't actually ever happen. So
exactly.
Sarah's just gaslighting you guys. You'll never get that date with us.
Hey, I didn't ask them on a grocery date. I asked if they want to ask us on a grocery date.
You said, "Do you want to go on a grocery date with us?" Are you
guess.
gaslighting them? Right. Just like Hyungyu?
I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
You're a real hot Hyungyu right now.
I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure you just agreed to go on a date with listeners, and then you didn't pick them. And they
no. I just asked them if they wanted to go on a grocery date. I didn't say I'd actually go. Just like theoretically, is that something they'd be interested in? I guess. There you go. Bam.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.